belly poker player, the big bone bobber, big Jim wobble, dirty Tommy rumble, Alan Bristol pusher, big bone bobber, big Jim wobble, dirty Tommy rumble, belly poker player, the big bone bobber, big Jim wobble, dirty Tommy rumble, Alan Bristol pusher. I can't help myself, sometimes I need your attention, baby. Get your cherry big, well touched, ready, Eddie, Eddie. I'm back and I'm dirty.
Bang!
I'm back. The big bone bobber, big Jim
I'm a cat.
wobble, dirty Tommy rumble, belly poker player, the big
Bang.
bone bobber,
Bang.
big Jim wobble,
I'm a
dirty
cat.
Tommy rumble,
Bang.
Alan Bristol
I'm a
pusher,
cat.
big bone bobber, big Jim wobble, dirty Tommy rumble, belly poker player, the big bone bobber, big Jim wobble, dirty.
Big ups, Joe. Big ups, Joe boy. Big ups, all you chuffers. Guess who's back? Well, it's me, innit? Super Chuffer. Hi, you're with Scott. I'm Super Chuffer. It's midnight. It's always midnight. But also Joe boy. Shouts out. If you want a bed, you can't go better than Supreme Beds, especially if you live north, shredded, westerly sort of way. Big ups. And also, I want to shout out JJ Kane. Shouts out JJ Kane. Give her a little kissy, look. Give her a little kissy. I've got a little bit of I've got everything lined up. Look, got a bit of this. What's this?
Eddie, darling, Eddie, can you just check the signals in your box, love? I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe Grandad can help.
I'm not pretty sure what's happening.
Give me a shout.
What is this? Hey, Grandad, come here. Can you help me with this a minute? Grandad?
Grandad, come here, love.
Yeah, can you come here a minute? I don't know what's going on here. This doesn't seem to be recording. No, I'm going to need your help. It's shown it's recording, but I've got no recording level.
I think the music will get me copyright, but shouts out JJ Kane special edition tonight, coming on a bit later, but I just want to shout, dedicated to JJ Kane, who's still with us. Do you remember how funny it was when that Jess came into my stream and told me that JJ Kane was dead in the middle of the night, and then I was really upset, and then I did a community post to say that she was dead because Jess told me she was dying, and then that was funny, wasn't it, that time? Ha ha ha, that was ages ago. Anyway, shouts out JJ Kane. Will always be thinking of her when I hear jovial, cheerful radio.
Let's have a little look here. Okay, let's have a look. Right, so what have you done? Well, I've done what I always do. I just push that and it's, I don't know, is it recording or not?
Is it recording? Is it recording? Yeah, what's Alan? Alan's looking rough. We'll show you tonight. We're going to watch some Alan, and we'll possibly watch some Paul Arnott if we've got time. He's had a bad time, mouldy hotel room and all.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go and check the monitor in the other room. Hold on a second. Oh, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, you do that. It's really weird. I don't understand why this is... Testing 1 2. I'm going to say hello to everyone just in case it is working, because for some reason I've got no recording level. So we're gonna get through this together.
Big ups, Lisa. You remember when that happened, don't you? Yeah, weird, wasn't it?
If this is even recording, let's
Still, you have to laugh.
see what Grandad says when he comes back. Yeah, your voice is coming out in here.
Your voice is coming out your ass, Eddie.
You ready? Oh, well, that's great. Okay. It's just I've got a funny screen on here. I don't know what's going on. Yep. Well,
Well, Eddie, you're shitting cherry bakewells now, aren't you?
hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's lovely to have you along. Grandad, is my voice a bit croaky or is it yours? I think you'll find it's yours.
Got a frog in your throat.
I thought that cold half left you by now, but obviously not.
like a hangover.
I need a cup of tea, Grandad, before we start. Okay, I'll make you a nice cup of Rosy Lee. But I've got some bad news for you. We've got no bagel tarts.
What?
No bagel tarts?
What?
Granddad.
The world's gone mad.
No, no.
I know. Hey, listen, you've been really busy, and I'll let you carry on with that. I'll
All right, we'll carry on with this then.
put the old kettle on, and
Because the copyright music. Thank you. Is that a tippy? Why is it not going do 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 do? Why is it not playing all the music and the sounds? Hang on. Everything's kicking off. My dog's barking, and I've got a tippy.
Tommy rumble, Alan Bristol pusher.
One thing at a time.
I'm back. Big bone bobber, big Jim wobble, dirty Tommy rumble.
Oosh. I got him really eggy about that Chris Watts this week. I got the dog eggy about Chris Watts this week. I shouldn't have done.
Dirty Tommy rumble, Alan Bristol pusher. big bone bobber, big Jim wobble,
Marlo's starting to think that Nicole Kessinger needs questioning.
dirty Tommy rumble, belly poker player, the big bone bobber, big Jim wobble, dirty Tommy rumble.
Alan Bristol Pusher. Shouts out JJ Kane. Dedicate this shout out. Dedicate this one to you. Let's hear Alan talking before we start.
Big bone bobber, big Jim
Got so many windows. More windows than Buckingham Palace, mate. And I'll fix the tippy system. I don't mind. It worked yesterday on stream. It worked today actually on Twitch, but we'll check the tippies and see what's going on. This is Alan, and this is a special one from Alan actually. This one, bit of a special one. This is Alan, and you might recognise the. We've played it before, but a classic for you, right from the back of the drawer. You might recognise the. You might recognise it basically. The poem. I'll call it the poetry that Alan's about to recite. You might recognise it. Tell me in chat if you recognise it, and tell me what the funny connection is. It's because Alan's got none of these. You ready?
Smelly cat, smelly cat. What are they feeding you, smelly cat? Smelly cat is not your fault. They won't take you to the vet. You're obviously not their favourite pet. I'll miss you before we're done, or the world will smell as one. Smelly cat, smelly cat. What are they feeding you, smelly cat?
Bit of smelly cat there from Alan, Armchair Detective Vinnicombe. Chuffers, we did get a tippy, and it was from Louise. I've had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart. I don't know why that didn't come through. Sometimes it doesn't come through if there's rude words in it, but that wasn't rude. So I don't know why that didn't come through. Where's my rugby? Where's my...
Woke bollocks number 2. I'm a cat.
Sorry.
I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart.
Did David Icke penetrate you with his penis?
Now hold on, Lorraine.
There you go. You've accessed the buttons. Thank you very much, Louise, for the tippy. Tippies will be read out on screen. The system should work, but I don't know why it didn't. I'll give it a test in a minute. Background music, I think, at this juncture will be coming. Have I got that lined up? I'm so fucking disorganised. Is it that one? No. Okay, background music will be coming in just a second. And shouts out JJ Kane, we've done that. And then we're going to watch Alan and his nonsense. I do want to start you off with one of his TikToks though. I watched it earlier, and I was going to do this as a... I reacted to a couple of his TikToks earlier on Twitch, and I'm just going to upload them to the channel. But I just want to show you this one because it baffled us all. We just thought it was a bit special. Like Alan.
Here's a message for all far-right poor pensioners this winter. We have a meeting close to you every day. You just don't know it. I'm going to tell you can find that meeting, pensioners. And I guarantee when you get there, you'll be given a warm welcome in more
specifically far-right pensioners.
ways than one. Well heated, with people of your own type, right? Whichever one you go, whichever town, get out of the rain, get out of the cold, and you'll meet loads of similar people, some of them with disabilities, mental and physical, and most of them will be very poor, like yourself, because if you need the £300 allowance, you'll be in the lower ring of poor pensioners that actually need it. So you're going to get to meet people there at these meetings, and you can become closer, make friends with fellow pensioners.
Far-right pensioners. You've written it at the top there, and you said it at the start. Far-right pensioners. Are you ridiculing yourself here? Who are you ridiculing here? Are you making a joke, or is this serious?
Of course, you're all far-right. Most of you will be white and poor, most of you. And there'll be people there of an average age of about 65, 70. And then there'll be retired military men there. There'll be widows there, widowers, everybody you need to meet. And you can talk about how bad the Labour government has treated us.
Right.
I'm inviting you to a meeting.
That's your thing, isn't it? You don't like Starmer. You're all, populist propagandist now, aren't you, Alan?
Meeting of the old age pensioner far-right thugs meeting in your town. And I don't know the name of the actual hall in your town, but they all come under one banner. They all come under one far left banner. It's called J.D. Weatherspoons, okay? So if you go into town, you will find a pub named the Tree or the
Bell End. Yeah, so you're suggesting they join Monday Club because Weatherspoons is full of poor, disaffected right-wing people. What are you saying?
Adam's Apple or something, but it will underneath will say J.D. Weatherspoons.
Alan, this is your gaff, the Weatherspoons, isn't it? You're in the Monday Club. You are a right-wing pension. I'm really confused about what you're trying to put across here.
The government have set up this chain of meeting houses for you to go there, and you can buy very cheap drinks. I think you can get a refillable coffee for 99p, as many cups of coffee as you want, 99p on a cold day. There'll be heating, there'll be toilets.
Right.
And as I say, people you can talk
Toilets, so...
to, and you can discuss your far right ambitions to have England become England. I know it won't happen, but you can talk about it till the cows come home. So there you are, far right pensioners who've lost your £300 winter allowance. We're having a meeting on a daily basis in a place called J.D. Weatherspoons.
And what I can't understand, and I was finding it a lot more comedic earlier, so I hope you see the comedy value in that. What I can't understand is he ridiculing the people who go to Weatherspoons for being far right and like, yeah, look at you scrubbers, all the Monday Club, why don't you all get together in Weatherspoons and drink your life away? Or is he actually actively promoting that they should meet up in Weatherspoons? I can't really decide if this is supposed to be a joke. He keeps referring to them as far right, but he is on the...
Each hall will be near to you. Every town has one. Join now.
Join now.
Your thoughts, please.
My thoughts, you look like an idiot. Like a stone bonker, mate. Stone bonker. Like a full stone bonker. This one as well, this Socrates one is absolutely takes the biscuit. So again, I reacted to them earlier. It's just a quick one, and then we'll get into his rumble. But this one takes the biscuit. Like his misunderstanding of the, like, I'm not going to get deep and political. You know, I decided this is the thing as well. His politics bollocks. Yeah, we've got 5 years before the next election. No one cares for this shit. I'm not going to let Nutterwatch be dragged down by this oaf. So we'll react to things that are fun, and when it just gets really like political and mean, I've made the points now. We've done it a couple of times. I'm not going to keep doing it. You know, this isn't a politics show. So, but Alan's turned his life into this. So
Socrates didn't like democracy. I'm going to give you a history lesson here. Ancient
Socrates, and Alan's going to give you a history lesson. So buckle in.
Greeks, like Socrates. He said the trouble with democracy is that you're going to vote for somebody who says something you like or panders to you or compliments you. You go, yeah, I'm going to vote for him.
You're going to vote for someone who panders to you? Well, isn't that what the right wing do? Have you not been paying attention here?
With no inclination of what his experience is to run a country, or
right. Well, you wouldn't want to vote for someone like, I don't know, Nigel Farage then, would you? Because he hasn't got any experience of running a country, has he? You should have seen his performance in the European Court. Anyway, I'm doing the same reactions I did earlier, so it's a little bit stale for me, but doesn't he look like a madman? Go on, Alan.
nowhere to do anything about like foreign policy or armaments or money or anything.
All right, so what we should do, I suppose, is we should get a load of Tories who have been educated at Eton and Oxford and you know, Harrow and Cambridge, and just give them the jobs because they're the political ruling class and they know what they're doing. We shouldn't trust anyone that's, I don't know, held high public office like in the legal profession or anything. Have a crack at it.
You just voted for him because you liked what he said, or like what he looked like, or you liked that he was pandering to your whims, right?
You liked him because he was pandering to your whims. Says the man who thinks that we should be a bit more right-wing.
That's what we do in democracy. For example, Socrates said, well,
Socrates again.
You're going to go across the ocean, and the man you chose to navigate across that dangerous ocean, would you vote for the man to navigate, the one that stood up there and said, I'm going to take you to England, I'm going to show you the way, follow
What's Socrates' friend's accent there?
me, my friends, or the guy sat in a corner writing notes who passed all the exams for navigating? You're going to vote for the guy who had all the exams for navigating.
Am I? I suppose I am if I'm voting for the navigation officer aboard the ship that's going to take us to England. I don't know how this analogy works.
But that's not what it is in elections.
No, there's no one that's got a qualification as prime ministerial qualification. You can get political science degrees, but I don't know if they qualify you for running the country. And running the country is a series of different and specialised jobs. So, for example, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, I might want to give that job to someone with an economics degree. And maybe, I don't know, the Education Minister, maybe they should have some sort of qualification in education. Or maybe it doesn't matter, because maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's a question of voting for people who then implement the ideas of the wider party. But Alan doesn't really care. He thinks Socrates didn't like democracy, and nor should you.
It's like he who shouts the
Bear in mind, he's wearing this t-shirt again, not t-shirt, v-neck, whatever you call it, the ladies' low neck. He's wearing the ladies' low neck thing, and supports the most populist arseholes that shout the loudest on the internet. So the irony here is not lost.
He who says what you like. He who does what you like. He who smiles at you in a certain way. I'll vote for him.
You realise that's what they did, Alan, to get your votes for the last 15 years over immigration, Brexit, all this, and they haven't changed anything, have they? They've just made it worse. They smiled at you and told you what you wanted to hear about other poor people and got your vote, and then they went off and stole all the money. You're a fucking idiot.
The people that run the country should be the people that know how to run a country. And that's where we fall down with democracy.
Well, at least it won't be you, because you don't know how to run a fucking bath, mate.
And it has many pitfalls, democracy, because it will say, all right, in a democracy, if someone says, we want you to pander to minorities, the democracy people will go, yeah, we'll pander to minority people. Yeah, no problem. What minority?
Okay, yeah, because that's how to win votes in a democracy, isn't it? To pander to the minorities. The minorities. Now, the other side of that coin is that the white, middle class, lower working class majority could be pandered to as well, couldn't it? You could pander to a majority, and maybe that would be a better way to win votes in a democracy, because you'd win more of them. I don't see many parties trying to pander to minorities in order to win votes, but yeah.
Who do you want to support? Oh, Black Lives Matter. Oh, yeah, okay, we'll pander to that. We'll take a knee. We want to pander to trans, whatever. Yeah, we'll pander to trans and we promote them and give them good jobs. Yeah, that's what we do. Positive discrimination. Yeah.
Positively discriminating against trans people to make sure they've got good jobs now.
Yep, that's democracy. Positive discrimination. Lovely, yeah, okay. It's not going to work, is it?
Isn't it?
You can end up with all the people that you don't want running the country
Are we? Well, come back and ask me again after 15 years of Boris Johnson stealing the money for his curtains. Oh, wait.
If you live in a certain town, you might go, oh, that guy there stands for MP, he's standing for the rights of Gaza. Okay, we're going to vote for him, he's standing for the rights for Gaza. He gets put in Parliament. I think there's 5 of them in Parliament.
He's definitely a man, obviously.
Parliament that were brought in on a Gaza ticket, right? And they're now MPs. They don't know how to be an MP. They don't know how to do a surgery in a town. They don't know.
I'll remind you that Nigel Farage has chosen not to do any surgeries in his town.
How to treat everybody as equal, because they're not equal to start with. They've got a pointed view. Socrates was right. It's allowing people to vote who don't know what they're doing.
Bit of a philosopher, aren't you, Alan? I think you've hit the nail on the head there. At the same time as removing your vote because you don't know what you're doing, maybe we should remove the vote from people who are thick. Maybe we should stop women from voting again, eh? Like, what are you saying? Like, we don't give the vote to people anymore because they don't know what they're doing, and it's you saying it. Alan, you couldn't run a YouTube channel. What are you going to do with the country? Like, you don't know what you're doing. You're an idiot. This is so ironic, isn't it? Someone who's been manipulated by a political ruling class to vote against his interests and now to propagandise the same shit as they do from his lofty position as down there on the shit heap, saying that other people don't know how to vote properly because it didn't go his way in the election.
People are voting who don't know what they're doing for people.
And don't tell me this man doesn't look like he's having some sort of breakdown. Because he does.
put in Parliament who don't know what they're doing. And
the reason he keeps looking over there like a maniac is because he's got his computer open and he's reading the Daily Mail story by story into his TikTok for content, and it's not doing very well for him.
that's free speech, I suppose. But Socrates ended up having to be eliminated by the government.
Socrates was taken out by the deep state.
He had, I think he had 5 people vote whether he should be put to death or not, because he was like, I think he was accused of corrupting the youth by telling them stuff they weren't supposed to know. So they voted him as to be, I'm afraid, eliminated. But they did give him the choice to choose which flavour hemlock poison would he like to be murdered by. Democracy, you see, democracy. So that's it.
So that's it. That's it. Sorted. We figured that out then. Democracy's bad because hemlock poison.
Democracy, although it doesn't work, it's much better than a dictator, right?
Yes.
Obviously, much better than a dictator. I don't know the answer.
Really?
I'm just telling you.
I thought you, like, being all smarty and telling everyone what this and that, I thought you'd have a better answer. You're just telling us you don't like it as it is. You're just unhappy with things. You don't really understand the world and you're confused and angry. Is that what's happening? That's the way they want you, you idiot. That's what invokes that in you. First of all, you get them mad. Like, you go on Twitter at the moment and all you see is people fighting. It's all American politics. You just see a load of people fighting, like physically fighting. Gets you all on edge, makes you worried about these bad people in society. We need something to change. No, Alan's a bit confused.
Why Socrates saw through democracy.
Mistress P, that's a bit of a strange and rude question. So yeah, you got deleted on that one. And no, I moved out a long time ago. My living arrangement might be complex, but no.
Because democracies will pander to whims of minorities, and then the minority is stronger than the majority. And once the minority is stronger than the majority, everybody's going to be upset. Tell me what you think.
When the majority is stronger than the minority, everyone's going to be upset. Well, no, they won't, because they'll be the majority and everyone will be happy. Like, you're a fucking idiot, Alan. Like a proper idiot. So that's his TikTok, a little look into his TikTok to start with. I should shout a correction from last week, which is that I said all Alan's ladies had left him, and one of them came on my channel to leave a comment to say, no, we haven't left him, but I didn't see them on his channel. I don't see them on his TikTok watching this shit. So I think they have left him, really. They just don't want to admit it because it makes them look bad. Because I was right all along. It's bad, isn't it, what Alan's doing? It's bad. So let's have some more of it. I want to show you a shout out here as well. Look, he's got a new t-shirt. Is it an old t-shirt? It says flipping heck. And what this is, somehow, I don't know how he's got this. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it has. So you just got to accept it. Is that Alan's got merch. It's the same week, right, as... I'm just jibbling because I wanted to get this picture. There you go, see it better. Flipping heck, Armchair Detective. And you can see the full t-shirt. It says flipping heck in one font, right? And then in another different font, it says Armchair Detective. So already that's a mistake. Flipping heck is a northern phrase. It means nothing to Alan. It's got no connection to Alan. I don't know why he's put it on his t-shirt. The arms are short. Doesn't fit him very well. It's accentuating his boobage. And then there's this silhouette picture, this two-tone picture from his poker playing days, of him playing poker. So that's all in Vin, the poker player, looking moody. It doesn't look like him anymore. They look like different people now. They've smoothed out. Even on the simple posterized image, they've gone for the heavy filter. And then Armchair Detective in a different font with, like, that's not a font that's relevant to him. He never uses it, and it's just random colours. Looks like the Ukraine colours or something. Like, it just doesn't, I don't know why that combination of things is on a t-shirt. It looks bad. Dark Side Phil did merch this week as well, which is weird. Bit of a combo there. Alan and Phil sometimes move in lockstep because they're both mad narcissists. And yeah, he's wearing that. Like, why is he wearing this? Where's he got it from? And what the fuck's going on? Alan, please enlighten us. It's time for your part of the show.
I'm live. When somebody can see me say so, I am the Armchair Detective. Armchair Detective. Flipping heck. Remember this? I just stay here while you just new look armchair detective.
New look. Again, he's saying this from the other week. New look. It's not a new look, Alan. You look exactly the same. Marginally worse, I guess. You look like you've not slept well. And that you started getting the clothes out the back of the drawer because you've run out of clean clothes. Like, you know, the old T-shirts that you were saving that you weren't wearing. Because this one doesn't fit well and it's a piece of your old merchandise. Like, you just look like nuts, don't you? Can we have it in chat? Do you think he looks... I want your opinion on it. I don't think it should just be me leading the charge here. Like... Do you think he looks better, worse, or the same? Like, do you think this looks like a new look? Like, what's going on here? What's the claim is this is his new look. Is the look... What is the new look? A change of T-shirt? Failure to shave. Something that he criticised me on quite heavily. But he's put the filters on so it looks weird. Is this the new look? Like the filters sort of merge the beard into one sort of... they smooth it all out. They try and smooth it out, yeah? So they smooth his beard into just sort of like white mass and then it disappears here as it fades out like it's makeup. And then it gives him a sort of Hitler Tash look. It looks like he's more dirty with the filters. More dirty, I think. You think he looks like Sean Locke? What, after they dug him up? Sean would appreciate that. He looks like Sean Locke currently looks after being dead for 2 years. Beard looks good, you think? What, here in this picture where it's heavily affected by filters thinning his face and smoothing it out, or in the TikToks where it just looks like he hasn't slept properly and he's been drinking 2 cans of Stella on the park bench? The filter's always... I don't know if the filter is an improvement. I think it looks more like a Burke. I think it makes... Something about it makes him look more like a Burke. Because he does. He looks like one of those, like Gormo Burkes in this, doesn't he? Like, you know when he goes through his Burke phase? Yeah, R.I.P. Sean Locke. Shouts out to Sean Locke.
New look. The new me.
It's not a new you. It's exactly the same you fucking had. Like, well, this is the... I suppose the new you is that you've got more overt with your racism.
Someone can see me, let me know. Holy Jolie's been ill. I'm moving up your... Hello, Holy...
People in chat are saying it looks better. I mean, from what, though? Marginally better from before. He's not looking good, is he? I think he looks worse. I think if you knew Alan and you saw this, big ups. Hey, look, this is happening again. Why no sound on the tippies? Have I got it switched on? Got it switched on. I mean, I have, because that came up, so it should all come up, shouldn't it? Let me just run a test. It might unclog the system. And I will thank you personally directly by reloading this. Thank you, Red Fan. Thank you, Red Fan. Thank you very much. And I'm just checking what's going on with the buttons. Doody-doo. Stream alerts, would it be? We're currently having trouble authorising your Twitch account. This may be due to changing your Twitch password. Oh, I changed my name on Twitch, actually, so that might have affected it. YouTube chatbot, send a test alert.
It's raining again.
Oh.
I couldn't be
Someone
happier.
sent tippies.
That's the test alert working.
Hello. Is it me you're looking for?
It is saying that I've got an issue
Super
connecting.
Chuffer owes 3 hugs.
Because I did change my my Twitch name to Super Chuffer recently. But, you know, it should still work, really, shouldn't it? So, I'm going to do it manually. We're going to do it manually. Thank you very much, Red Fan, for a very generous £20. Thank you. And I really appreciate the ongoing support. And thank you, Louise, earlier for the tip as well, which I did shout out, but I'll just repeat it because I'm looking at it now. I'll have to do it manually. Manual tip alerts.
Jolie? Mamma Mio?
What?
Liz, Nosy Nana?
Oh, they're all turning up now because Scott said on his last show they don't turn up and watch Alan anymore. So a couple of them have turned up to show him some support. You sad chuffers. Listen, I've got nothing against the ladies that used to support Alan, and for some reason, still for some reason, look at him. Still, but I think it's about time they come on the show. I think a couple of them are still flirting around with this channel, keeping an eye on what's going on here. I might still have feelings. Get on the show now. Get on the show. Who was it? Was it Kaz? Or was it Kaz a chick or something? Kez chick? Was it one of you? Come on the show. send us an email, truebinaural@outlook.com. We'll get you on and have a chat. I won't be mean to you. I just want to hear it from your side. Come on the show. Big ups, Curious Cat. Big ups.
Bang!
I'm a cat.
Actually, you are actually a cat.
Same! The exact same!
I'm a cat.
You actually are. So.
Fact.
Thank you very much for the $3.99. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm coming on at this different time. It's only 5:30 here in the UK. I'm trying a different time.
Trying a different time. Like, Alan does something differently once, and he's like, we're trying something new. Things have changed. I'm on slightly earlier. Oh, look at him. He looks decrepit, and he's got the filters on.
Tactic.
New tactic.
I'm not on YouTube anymore. I'm not going to get like thousands of people watching anymore, are we?
No. Although you do claim that you get that on TikTok, but you forgot to mention it just now, because you know you don't really get that on TikTok. Otherwise, you'd bring that up right now, wouldn't you? And say, but I do get thousands on my TikTok, so it doesn't matter. Bit weird.
Will you see me? First person to see me gets a house point.
House points? Do you remember house points? Oh my God, did he go to school with house points? Surely not. He couldn't have been that. You know, they wouldn't have stood for him there, would they? We had house points. I was in Guild. We had Guild and Kings. I went to King Edward's Grammar School in Stratford. So I went to the same school as Shakespeare, literally. Went to the same school as Shakespeare, selected through examination, and had a good time there, I think, you know. It was a boys' school, and we did have two separate houses. Think Harry Potter. Just think Harry Potter. If you're not from the UK, just think Harry Potter. And we did have two houses, Guild and Kings. We did compete for house points. And in that first year, every exam point, every sporting point, you know, all those achievements went together, and I was going for it. I was driven to help us succeed. And then by the third year, I could not give a shit if we got house points or what. They stick your house points up your arse with your fucking fake system to try and motivate me. Stick your house points up your arse. House points. In Alan's chat now, you get house points. In my chat, you're not getting any house points. All right, I'm not segregating you into two separate houses so you compete against each other for house points. Although maybe it's an idea. Maybe we should do that. We've already got two tiers, haven't we? We've got greens and non-greens, greens and greys. So I should do that. They do it in the chat for the sex workers on the internet. You know, on like Chatterbait. I don't know if you've heard of Chatterbait. Chatterbait with the sex workers on the internet that do Chatterbait. They will only talk to the people that are members, you know, and they call the other people just greys. So that's where that. Maybe Alan, we should start doing that. Maybe you should start doing Chatterbait. No, doing Chatterbait would be a really bad idea, wouldn't it, Alan?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you do watch it a lot, don't you? No, because you've got little Filipino kids on your fucking phone. So anyway, look.
And a rocket. Lollipop. And a whizzer to chew. Whizzer.
I'm sorry? A whizzer to chew? Is it possible? I haven't watched this. I just know he's going to do it, so I'm going to react. And I know there's going to be a load of it that I'm going to ignore, but, you know, we'll skip all the news or the video that he plays mainly. I can critique Jordan Peterson another day, but big ups, Steve. Big ups.
Do's and don'ts.
Same!
I never went without a real drink in all my time in the Rovers.
Same!
Thank you very much for the $1.99 super chat, Steve. Thank you. Is this possible that Alan's taken my advice? Because I won't critique that. If you're trying to connect your audience by talking in a positive and friendly manner about things that you reminisce on, things from your childhood, your past, whatever, you know, something you can connect with, maybe tell a few old anecdotes. You know, I will take the piss, Alan. You know, I'll laugh at the old stories and stuff, won't I? But you've got to remember, I laugh at everything you do and take the piss out of everything. So you're better off doing what's better for you. This is much better. We're already. I will say it when it's. You know, I'll state it when it's. I'm going to be fair and even-handed. I don't go into Alan's personal life. I don't stalk his family and other friends on the internet and do shows about his friends and their wives and stuff. Like, you know, I'm not a fucking psycho. And I will call it out when it's fair. Yeah, I will call it out when it's fair. So the fair point here is that he started off, he's taken the advice, he's gone straight into it. Okay, we're a minute in still before he's got going, but he started talking. He didn't say, where are you? Is anybody out there? What's it like to be on my own again? He didn't do that. He went straight into it, and now he's doing this sort of connect with the audience, reminiscing, bit of himself, a bit of the humanity of the man. And the only thing I can think of that he's done in the last 2 years since I've been covering him that doesn't come with malice and bitterness and vendetta and weirdness is reminiscing about Torchy the Battery Boy, isn't it? Like, for most of us, I think we will agree that this was his best. Well, I think this was one of his best efforts, actually.
There is no child porn on the internet. I hate to warn you that. There is no child porn on the internet. I checked.
And this one.
AD.
That was good as well, wasn't it? But realistically, you have to accept that.
Torchy. Torchy. I remember Torchy when I was a little tiny boy. I used to love Torchy. Torchy the Battery Boy.
That was probably his best stream in the 2 years I've watched him. Is when he was fucked on tramadol, 2 vodkas in, jibby jabbing about what he used to watch at the cinema.
The blonde one, the dark one, and the butch one. What else do we remember their names? Lollipop.
I mean, look at him. Doesn't he look like a shit Hitler here? Doesn't the filter smear his moustache into like a sort of... It does. Don't tell me he doesn't look like a shit Hitler. Don't tell me... I mean, who else does he look like if he doesn't look like shit Hitler? The way he says he checked, yeah. Because, like, I'll repeat it. There's so many different pieces of circumstantial evidence. It's not one smoking gun with Alan. The fact he was on Smooth with the Kids and that was live and it was a... a live jam, and he had the opportunity. Like, even if later on someone had sung with him on one of his other live jams later on, they had the ability to do that because I remember talking about it at the time. They had VIP status. They'd set it in a video themselves in order to access his previous live jam. They had VIP status, but those kids didn't have VIP status. So we all know what happened there. But there's other circumstantial evidence, isn't it? And this is another smoking gun, is what kind of person has an excuse for searching for child porn on their computer? Well, we know that Ron Swanson that Luke's in with, he's got an excuse for searching for that on his computer, hasn't he? Well, for being in the chat rooms with the pedos. Well, Alan's excuse...
There is no child porn on the internet. I hate to warn you that. There is no child porn on the internet. I checked.
The reason he was checking the internet for child porn by using search engines to search for it was because he was making a documentary, and we've covered that on this channel. It's called Angry Alan versus the Porn Industry. It's an 18+. The documentary was about 20 minutes. A large portion of it was him wandering around the park, just filming the park, and then randomly saying things about it, porn off the computers. And then 40 minutes of it was a video of a serial killer talking about pornography from a time before computers that he didn't edit and just stuck on the end. So it was one of those defences where it's, there have been other notable nonces that went to court and said they were making documentaries, and they even worked for the BBC, some of them, and they still got done for noncing. So it's the old, I'm doing a documentary defence, yeah. He checked. Anyway.
First person to see me gets a house point.
What do you win with your house points?
Yeah. And a rocket. Lollipop.
I'll stick a rocket up your lollipop.
And a whizzer to chew. Whizzer.
You chew on your whizzer, mate. I'll stick a rocket up your lollipop, chew on your whizzer. This doesn't sound weird.
What else did we used to?
I don't even know what a whizzer is.
3 boys chocolate.
3 boys whizzers. Got it.
Ah, Mamma Mio. You can see me? Mamma Mio, see me? Okay, so look. Armchair detective, flipping it. This is 6 years old.
Is it?
Still frigging bits me. Right, now you've seen that.
Now you've seen his tits. He can scruffle back up to tighter angles so you can't see below the line of his tits. Now you've seen it.
As you see, you have a new look, AD.
Do you mean you found another filter that makes you look slimmer? Is that what it is? Because this is a slimming filter, Alan. Like, it's just you with filters on. I don't understand how you think.
My new sophisticated intellectual look, isn't it?
What, you've grown a beard and you haven't slept well?
AD.
And you haven't even grown growing a beard's not an achievement, it just happens. And you used to critique me for not looking like I've had a wash and a shave. Every pause on this makes you look like Hitler's grandson not doing well for himself, 4 cans of Tennant Super down, lost it all again at the bookies. Like, you just look like a mess.
The intellectual.
The intellectual. You couldn't pass a blood test.
Tonight, I'm having a look at Peterson. He's good, isn't he?
No, just in a nutshell, Jordan Peterson lost his job for refusing to use they-them pronouns with a student and instead having a big argument, and there were loads of students stood around him out in the... It used to work for University of Toronto, and all the students were having like a big row with him outside, and there was people videoing it, and they were getting eggy about pronouns, and he was like, I refuse a language, and he lost his job over it, and then he had to do something with his life, so he realised that lots of people were watching this viral clip of him on the internet, so he did some podcasts, a bit like John Wedge, desperate for the attention on the podcasts, and then he actually managed to sell a book to generate more interest. He got on Joe Rogan because when he worked for University of Toronto and before, his specific studies, his master's degree, when you do a degree and you have to study something, he was interested in how young men were manipulated by warmongers in Africa, the mechanisms that they used to manipulate young men. And then he employed those mechanisms to write a book and in his podcast to manipulate young men to make himself more money. And now they don't like him as much anymore because they see him as a hollow promise.
Not going to mess about tonight. He's got things to say, and I'm going to stop and start it and tell you my opinion of he's right.
Well, that's going to work, isn't it? We're going to do a live react to Jordan Peterson. I'm not going to watch Alan react to Jordan Peterson now in this sitting. Sorry if you want me to, but I'm not. It's gonna drag.
My opinion is a lot of the 12...
Alan, it seems like your opinion's going to be fed directly to you from Jordan Peterson from a video you've literally just watched, maybe, isn't it? It's not going to be a well-founded, well-thought-out opinion. It's going to be Jordan Peterson's, well, you could call it his opinion or his manipulation of a situation, his spin on his own personal situation.
I didn't realise that until recently. The psychopaths.
Apparently trolls are psychopaths. No, Alan, you're a sociopath, a narcissistic sociopath. You're the one with the mental problems. You're the one with the personality disorder. You've admitted that when you feel unhappy and angry or upset or like wronged or hurt, you feel better by taking that out on other people, Alan. You've admitted that.
Evidently, 5% of the population are psychopaths.
Are they?
And out of that 5%, a lot of them go online because they...
Yeah, they might end up in positions like, I don't know, podcasts, doing things like Jordan Peterson and other people. Narcissistic madness that they do. They might end up doing things like you, mightn't they?
can hide behind false names and they can be rude.
False names? What, Ian Black? On Facebook, because you're physically not allowed to have a Facebook because they murdered you off on Facebook. And then, what was it? John Bray on Smule, where you didn't want to be found because you were singing with kids. Yeah, that one. Yeah? The false names. You hide behind false names. You were hiding behind false names when you used to come and troll, when you used to be on YouTube, when you were allowed an account. Oh, big ups. You want to hear more?
Woke bollocks number 2. I'm a cat.
Big ups, Curious Cat.
Woke bollocks number 2. I'm a cat.
I'm first. I'm first.
That I'm a cat is pretty good, though.
I'm a cat.
And it works so well with...
Bang fact.
I'm a cat.
Bang fact.
I'm a cat.
So I am pleased for this iteration, but...
And tried to destroy people.
I hope you're feeling better, Curious Cat. Are you back and at it?
Because when they're a psychopath, they're normally a narcissist at the same time.
Oh my God! I didn't realise you was going to say that. Alan, you realise you are a prime shining example of narcissism. We've already covered it in your story, so we don't bring it up every time. But you are bruised, bitter child inside, you are the narcissist. What is it? There's two different kinds, aren't there? Well, there's more than two different kinds, covert and overt and all sorts. But like, Alan, you are the narcissist. You are the archetypal narcissist. Like, you're the one doing weird sadistic shit on the internet. Like, even in your shows, on your TikTok, all of it.
Time. Mr. Peterson, Dr. Peterson, is going to enlighten us. I can't wait for this. Unfortunately, we've got Piers Morgan in the way.
Alan, in your last episode, you made a right fucking thing about how the media can't be trusted, and about how you're going to give people a different view from the establishment media. You were like, you can't, they're bad, and now you're going to be feeding us the establishment media on your show, yeah? Feeding us. We'll get rid of Piers Morgan for you. Look, you can be Piers Morgan instead with your flipping Eck t-shirt. We'll watch a little bit, I suppose. I'll try and skim through it. I'll try and get the bits where Alan's talking, really. But Jordan Peterson makes a point, but he makes a stupid point in this. And to be honest, like I said, I could make my show about arguing with Jordan Peterson if I wanted to, but I'm not going to allow Alan to drive me in that direction if I don't want to. So,
But I'm doing it to listen to Mr. Peterson.
Dr. Peterson.
On Donald Trump within the space of 2 months, a man who until recently was president of the United States, who may well be again. Unprecedented to see this happen. We now have Israel attacking 3,000 Hezbollah terrorists by putting stuff in there.
So all the important topics then, American politics, Trump, stuff that we really, in your life, Alan, is going to affect you and is important, yeah? Look how it looks. Doesn't he look like Hitler's passport photo?
In their pages and so on. There's a lot going on in the world. Does it feel to you like things are slightly out of control? Or is it simply that we know more about what's going on in the world?
What a stupid question. Do you feel lost and out of control and scared, like my audience? They better vote Trump. Right wing, right wing.
Well, I think a lot of it is a consequence of sheer rate of technological change. So the world's the same.
Yeah, that shit you over, didn't it, Jordan Peterson? Because they videoed you being an arsehole and put it on the internet, and now you have to fucking do something else with your life.
As it ever was in a way, but it's way faster. So the contours of things are clearer to people than they were, which is why
No, it's the opposite. Things are more muddied because there's so much bullshit out there and fake news, isn't it?
people have a sense of massive things moving under the
He's just talking nonsense. He hasn't said anything specific yet.
psychological and sociological tectonic plates.
Sociological tectonic plates. Big words. Big up Swordbod. Thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you. Another button. Let's get a good one.
I've just had a lovely cup of tea and a Bakewell tart.
Pitbull Sleuth, £10 super chat. Thank you very much as well. I'm going to give you some special buttons. They're going to sound bad because it's people being rude, but they're special buttons all the same.
There's facts, there's reality, and then there's your
bullshit world. There's too many fucking idiots. I can say whatever the fuck I want, and you like it. Or you shut the fuck up.
Battery exhausted, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about or who you're talking to. That's the problem.
That's me.
Follow ladies, I want ladies, super ladies. Nutterwatch. Let go and feel less, we came to take one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank
rate
you.
of change is going to.
Well, that's my first problem. Can someone look up what a tectonic plate is?
Alan, you are a fucking... Really? Maybe we should watch some of this. Really?
Because he's lost me already.
I was getting, like, that's the point of what Jordan Peters has done, is he said nothing but used some big words. So you sound like, if you're thick, you think he's intelligent. Like, and Alan's lost already. Tectonic plates, he's got no idea. I'm not going to tell him. Like, you're supposed to learn that in primary school.
You know, barring cataclysm, is going to just keep increasing. So you could say this is the new normal, but it's going to become even more intense.
I mean, what's extraordinary?
Yeah, this is the new normal, but it's going to become more intense. Yeah,
is that by any sort of conventional metric of what it is like to live right now, it should be, and it should feel like, the best time to ever be alive. You know, we're living longer.
Oh, shut up, Piers. How do you know it doesn't feel like the best time to be alive? If you were alive at the 1400s, you wouldn't be saying this, would you? Come
living
on.
Healthier. There are actually fewer wars than in recorded history.
And it depends who you are, doesn't it? I'm sure you're having a good time, Piers, aren't you? Eating truffles, where some people aren't having a good time struggling to pay their bills. I mean, it's just different for everyone.
Water's clean.
But in general, these points are salient points, aren't they? Yes, water, electricity, modernity. In theory, it'd be good to have the internet, you'd think. I can order things off Amazon, they come right to my door. But overall, it's time to tear it down and stop.
You know, there's less.
All right, we're not looking healthier. I can go back to my job.
Oh my God. We are going to watch this. I didn't know this was going to happen. We might be here all night. Let's just go.
I did. I can guarantee you, every kid in my class, bar one, who's at one, was slim. 99% people were slim. Now, I think it's 30% people who are obese.
Okay, this is like random point, but there's fatter people now because you have more access to fast food, the poverty trap. Like there's a real actual point there. But also, Alan, when you were at school, people might have been more slim because there'd been a war and there was a food shortage. And they're on fucking rations. They were malnourished.
Purely because we used to ride bicycles, we used to walk to school, we used to play football after school, we used to run around the playground, we used to run around all the time. So, no, I don't know why we're living longer. In my opinion, the food we eat.
You don't know why we're living longer. Medicine. Science and medicine. Hygiene is massive. Food, nutrition, access to cheaper and more readily available nutritious foods. You don't know why we're living longer.
It's much worse than what my mum used to cook. She used to cook vegetables and stuff.
Alan's mum used to cook vegetables. Hang on.
Around the playground. We used to run around all the time. So, no, I don't know why we're living longer. In my opinion, the food we eat is much worse than what my mum used to cook.
The food we eat now is worse than what your mum used to cook. What do you mean? You have choice over your diet. Like, you can choose what you want to eat.
She used to cook vegetables and stuff.
Your mum used to cook vegetables and stuff. You can cook vegetables. When you walk in the supermarket, it's the first thing. It's the main aisle. Bread and vegetables. That's right. They're straight in there. You still got that option.
Now, McDonald's?
McDonald's? What is this, McDonald's now? McDonald's? That's not a new one, McDonald's. Not these days. It's been around for nearly 50 years, but yeah.
Really?
Really?
Less abject poverty, and so on and so on. And yet, young people in particular, very large numbers of young people, seem completely gripped in a kind of a doom-laden neurosis about life. What is going on there?
They're depressed because you ruin their lives with your fucking shit politics, Piers and Jordan. They're depressed because their elders are selfish arseholes. Warmongers. Anyway.
I can explain that. That's such.
Oh, Alan's going to explain it. Fuck.
And yet, young people in particular.
Young people. This isn't based on any statistics. There's no statistical evidence to say that young people today are less happy than they were when they had to work down the coal mines. I'm pretty sure that when we used to run around more and play on our bicycles, and I got my hand caught in the threshing machine, as I was encouraged to go in there because I was a small child, small hands. When I used to work as a chimney sweep in Victorian times, my quality of life was better. I was thinner and I could fit up the chimney quicker. He doesn't have a woman to cook for him, but he doesn't need one, dry spell, because vegetables. Like, you can microwave all the vegetables, I think, can't you? Or like, boil them. You just fucking boil them. My mum used to cook vegetables. I haven't had one of those in years. It's all McDonald's these days. Or is he complaining about his own kids and the way they feed their children? Like, I don't know.
Very large numbers of young people seem completely gripped in a kind
And
of...
like, this is sort of Piers Morgan Uncensored talking to Jordan Peterson on a random ranging topics of just, a bit of propaganda, young people are bad and sad and the internet and all, let's just have a bit of a moan. And Jordan Peterson hasn't made any points whatsoever yet that have any sort of point or substance, but I'll critique it as we go, I suppose. I mean, we're 5 minutes into a 1 hour 20. I said I wasn't going to watch any of the Jordan Peterson propaganda, but like, if Alan's going to pause it and talk.
A doom-laden neurosis about life.
Big up Stone.
What is going on there? I mean,
I can explain that. That's social media.
Social media.
There's never been so many teenagers unaliving themselves. I'm not.
Oh, Alan, it turns out this is this is the seed they just planted in your head. Oh, what could possibly going wrong with the young people? Right, that's it. It's social media. It's the internet. Get them off it. Like, if it had been your generation, Alan, they'd have been complaining about the devil's music or something like that. There's always a boogie figure, but actual mental health, whilst social media can, create some distortions, mental health overall in our country and the struggles that children go through, the major problems I would suggest would be child poverty, family dysfunction, and a sense of like the way the consumer society tries to, and social media is part of this, but before social media it was magazines, it was mainstream media. It tries to impart like this idea of perfection into young people's minds and their aspirations and what they aspire to, stuff like that. The pop industry, the makeup industry and all that. So it's a complex web, isn't it? But
on YouTube, killing themselves.
They're on YouTube. Oh my god.
So many.
In Minecraft.
That's because of social media, and we used to get bullied at school. Get bullied.
Yeah, I think bullying's like the situation with bullying in schools it's not as bad as it used to. I mean, there is still cyberbullying, there is still, but I think obviously bullying in schools used to be worse in the past because people couldn't even speak up or speak out or feel they could express themselves. I joke that in my school everyone got bullied because the teachers bullied everyone and we all bullied each other. But it's a joke. It's like, saying about how Harry Potter school like I went to. It was quite strict. And there was a sort of sense of social hierarchy on the playground in a boys' school where the bigger boys, if you walked in through if the bigger boys were coming and they got your tennis ball, they might throw it on the roof, and that was because you were the smaller boys. It's a sense of social hierarchy, a pecking order, a sort of hazing culture. But it wasn't like we were going around doing horrible bullying to people as a part of the culture. That would be silly. But that would have been more prevalent in the past, wouldn't it, Alan, when you went to school? Because the mechanisms for controlling that, like the understanding of it. I mean, having a school counsellor, for example, didn't exist, did it? Like, anyway.
And yet, young people in particular.
Let's blame it all on social media while you're on social media bullying people. Oh, I'm bullying people. Oh no, I'm bullying you. You're a fucking grown up. You can deal with it, right? I'm not bullying you. I'm critiquing you on your nonsense. This is silly, isn't it? Alan uses TikTok to bully. He uses TikTok to bully immigrants who are the only people he can find on the social pecking order lower than him. A nonce. He's trying to find someone to punch down to, and so Alan will use social media to bully people all the time. Has done consistently throughout his YouTube career as well. Like, said really horrible, mean things about people. Stole the work of that lady Diane. The shadows thing that came from a lady. She died. She's dead now. Alan still uses her work to this day to his name. Like,
young people
on social media
seem completely gripped in a kind of a doom-laden.
And Piers, we should point out, is part of the doom mongers on social media. He's part of the mainstream. I don't want to call it Project Fear, but it's just designed to get you on edge, isn't it? To push in a direction. That's what Piers has always been: argumentative, controversial, and a bit of an arsehole, platforming other arseholes.
neurosis about life. What is going on there? I mean, John,
I can explain that. That's social media. There's never been so many teenagers unaliving themselves.
Oh my
not on
God.
YouTube, killing themselves. Never been so many. And that's because of social media. And we used to get bullied at school. You now get bullied in your own bedroom and told you should do away with yourself. That's what's wrong there.
I mean, that's true. That can happen through social media. Agree with that.
It's not great time to be
I don't think that's the sole reason for mental health problems in the young, but yeah.
living. It's awful time to be living. I much prefer my childhood where we didn't
Well, you
have-
obviously you prefer your childhood because you experienced it. You didn't experience childhood today, so you don't know what it feels like. How can you claim that you preferred yours? I preferred mine. I'm sure everyone, well, hopefully most people will prefer that. You know, will have a good and decent crack at childhood and think fondly of it. Like these days, you've got so many opportunities, haven't you, Alan? Like the internet and education and stuff. Surely it's got to be better to be a child of today and maybe the future than it would be from the past. But if you want, we can drag everyone back to the 1940s and 50s and see if they prefer it. There's even been documentary shows about it. It turns out it's better now.
mobile phones and social media. In my opinion, Beard.
Jonathan Haidt wrote this fascinating book about the impact of cell phones, but it can't just be that.
No, I think the cell...
It's funny that was. Piers Morgan just poo-pooed Alan's point. Oh, we all know about cell phones and social media. It can't just be that. Or is he going to go on to say social media?
Phones are
like, you fucking
particularly
arseholes.
bad.
Like, you both use cell phones, yeah? Like, you both use cell phones. You both use mobiles. You both got a smartphone. Yeah? Jordan Peterson and Alan... and sorry, Piers Morgan's underneath Alan's face. I'm talking to Piers Morgan there a bit. But, like, what? Didn't you get the contract with Nokia, so you're not going to promote them? Shut up. Phones are good. Shut up.
Because they interfere with childhood play, and childhood play isn't replaceable. When children play...
Right, listen, if you give your child a phone and sit it in front of the phone, it's the same as sitting in front of the telly. We've always had that option since the 1940s. Sit it in front of the radio, make it go and work in a coal mine. Like, phones can be part of childhood play, but in a controlled and balanced environment, a good parent won't just leave them with a phone and hope they don't call chat back. Get a hold of yourself, Jordan.
That's how they formulate their identities, and that's how they cement.
Childhood play. I've been told all my life that what you are reflects back to your childhood, right? So your first few years, that's what you are. And childhood play was how we learned to associate with other people, right?
Right, so what Alan's saying is what you are is locked in childhood because he's a narcissist and his problem stems to his childhood. And when he says he's been told a lot, he means why people who know him and are say, like, it's because you're a fucking child and it's all about this thing that happened in your childhood. That's how he really feels. That was a bit of a revelation. Yeah, sorry, Alan.
Childhood play. I've been told all my life that what you are reflects back to your childhood, right? So your first few years, that's what you are. And childhood play was how we learned...
Sorry, the first few years of your life is not what determines the rest of your life. We all know that.
...to associate with other people.
You mean socialise with other people. You can socialise on the internet. It's a different kind of socialisation, Alan. Like, it's also important to get out and touch grass, of course. But are you saying that when the telephone came along, we should have hung up the receiver and all gone out and talked to each other face to face more often? It's the changing world. In fact, we can now talk face to face on the phone, can't we? So...
Right, so when I first went to school, I can remember it vividly. When I was about, 6, being in a playhouse in the school, first years of school. And all the girls had little prams pushing around dollies, pretending to be mums. It's Torchy, light on, yeah, Torchy. I remember Torchy when I was a little tiny boy. I used to love Torchy. Torchy the battery boy. 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 I've been told all my life that what you are reflects back to your childhood, right? So your first few years, that's what you are. And childhood play was how we learned to associate with other people, right? So when I first went to school, I can remember it vividly. When I was about, 6, being in a playhouse.
Right, I'm going to interrupt Alan. I'll get back to him. Shouts out the Nokia phone. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's shout out the Nokia phone. This one was my fucking favourite. This one was a banger with the shell on it. Do you remember that one? With like, he like had a, was it that one with the shell? Or was it not that one? There was one with the shell on it and it was waterproof. That was the banger. But the old Nokia was, you know, was that the 32? That's the 3310. That's the original, isn't it? And then the next one had the shell, didn't it? Was it the one, like, it was like a builder's phone with a shell on it. That was my favourite. Do you remember that one? Snake on the phone, yeah? Snake on the phone. But that was the phone. Wasn't it? Was that that was the phone, wasn't it? The phone. And it come free with Orange. Do you remember when it always used to come free with Orange? And you're like, oh my God, to get the free phone with Orange. But it's, oh, you have to pay for the contract and you have to work it all out. Playing Snake, playing Bantumi on the one with the shell that used to come apart. Playing Bantumi. Hello! I'm doing my stream. I can't shout because I've got neighbours. What was your best phone when you were young? What was your best phone? There was two really interesting phones that I was fortunate enough to have passed through my hands. Well, I say fortunate. My mate Matt had a phone that looked like a packet of Marlboro cigarettes, and I don't know where he got it from, can't remember, but I bought it off him in some strange circumstance. I think I bought a microphone and a phone off him. And it looked really cool. I think I must have used it for 10 minutes. You could only just do calls on it. It was cool looking, but it was back in the day of Nokia days. And like, obviously as phones evolved, I just didn't use it anymore after 10 minutes. But it was an interesting looking phone. Looked like a packet of Marlboro cigarettes. I wonder if they could find that on. Not a modern one. Not a modern one. It was a flip phone. I think it might have been an Ericsson. Well, they're just going to show you all modern ones, but, you know, knowing my luck, it would probably be worth loads and loads of money now, because I don't know where the fuck it is, but, yeah. That was probably my best ever coolest looking phone, though. The Marlboro phone. Flip phone. Ericsson, maybe? And it was old though, like, you know, this era, it was this sort of generation. It was that sort of phone, but it was painted up like a Marlboro packet. Do you remember that generation of flip phone where it wasn't really a flip phone, it just had like one piece of plastic that folded out on the front? Anyway, back to this nonsense.
It isn't replaceable. When children play, that's how they formulate their identities, and that's how they cement.
Childhood play. I've been told all my life that what you are reflects back to your childhood, right? So your first few years, that's what you are. And childhood play was how we learned to associate with other people, right? So when I first went to school, I can remember it vividly. When I was about, I don't know, 6, being in a playhouse in the school, first years of school. And
this is interesting because this must be an early memory for Alan, 6 years old, vivid early memory. And if you think back to your own early memories at 6 years old, you don't have many of them. And the vivid ones are usually of something that made an impression on you at the time.
All the girls had little prams.
All the girls had prams.
Pushing around dollies.
Pushing around dollies.
Pretending to be mums.
Pretending to be mums.
6. And like changing their nappies when they're 6.
The nappies. Dollies, babies, prams, nappies. Got it, yeah.
And all the boys, well, we were like shooting each other with bows and arrows. So, yeah.
Were you? Because it sounds like you were in a Wendy house playing with the girls with the dolls and the nappies. You weren't pretending to be a baby, were you, Alan? It wasn't like mommies and daddies. Because I grew up as a sibling, so my sister would play more, I suppose, socially feminized games, but like, you know what I mean, playing mommies and daddies, doctors and nurses. Like, someone would sometimes have to play the role of the baby, and like, you know, you saying to me that you were out there running around playing bows and arrows, because I remember you just literally 10 seconds ago saying you were in the Wendy house with the girls.
Children play. that's how they formulate their identities, and that's how
Associate with other people, right? So when I first went to school, I can remember it vividly. When I was about, I don't know, 6, being in a playhouse in the school.
Being in a playhouse, vividly, he can remember being in a playhouse. In a playhouse. So when you play in the playhouse game, yeah, you all have roles within the house. And the girls' roles, he's saying, are to maternalize. Like, the girls are going to baby these babies, which you would assume are dolls, yeah? But what's your role? Are you playing daddy or are you playing baby in the house? Because you're remembering it very vividly. And it's got nappies involved. Are they changing your nappy? Is your winky out in front of the girls? What's going on? We need more on this.
First years of school. And all the girls had little prams pushing around dollies, pretending to be mums at 6, and like changing their nappies when they're 6. And all the boys, well, we were like shooting each other with bows and arrows.
So are you shooting each other with bows and arrows? And he does this, which is a gun. So that's not a bow and arrow, so it's inconsistent. So I don't think that's your actual memory of it, Alan, is it? I think you're just trying to make something up there. I'm going to go with you were in the Wendy house and your role was the baby and they were changing your nappy, and it's a distinct memory that you've got locked in. Okay. It's made you what you are.
Yeah. We used to learn our mistakes young. Yeah, young.
their social groups, and that's how they.
We used to learn our mistakes young. What mistakes did you make in the fucking Wendy house, Alan? Young. What the fuck are you on about?
Learn to integrate themselves with other people and to play nice together, which is something you obviously.
And obviously that's Piers Morgan's point now. Sorry, Jordan Peterson's point. Alan must have watched this one before. Unlike many of his other things, sometimes people suggest it to him, he puts it on and then he just plays it and ignores it. In this one, he's watched this before, hasn't he? And he's got his idea on it. Interestingly, he's watching it on YouTube as well, the angry arsehole. He's watching it on YouTube, so he still can't get away from YouTube, the mainstream, any of the things he decries. And he's obviously already heard this because he's made the same point as Jordan Peterson in a way. So it's easy to look clever when you're repeating parrot fashion the thing that you think the clever man said.
You have to do as an adult, and screen time seriously interferes with that. And then, well, there's content as well. Pornography is a complete bloody catastrophe.
Of course, there are negative aspects to the internet and screen time. If it wasn't the internet, you'd be saying this about pornography on the television or on the media and the films. You know, people have always been pearl clutching in this way, haven't they? It's about parental guidance. That's the answer to that.
In 15 different dimensions. And then I would say as well, there's been a Malthusian, a neo-Malthusian campaign going on since the 1960s.
Oh, he's done it again. What's a Malthusian campaign?
Alexa, describe Malthusian.
Malthusianism is a theory that population growth is potentially exponential, according to the Malthusian growth model, while the growth of the food supply or other resources is linear, which eventually reduces living standards to the point of triggering a population decline.
So the idea that we would run into a situation where we have too many people and not enough food, because you can have lots and lots of babies exponentially, as in one person can have two people can have, each can have more than the last, and it can grow and grow and grow bigger, quicker, like exponential. We know exponential from the old COVID days, don't we? So exponentially, but the food source doesn't or can't. I don't know if that's a legitimate point. You know, it's not fact, is it? It's an idea, and an old idea, and it might not be correct. I mean, if you look at today's modernity, the way we can adapt our food supplies, there are ways to have more in abundance. I mean, even just simply by scaling farming upwards rather than outwards, you know, with the indoor technologies and lighting and stuff. You know, you could discuss it, couldn't you? And then population, it turns out, as you advance as a society, people have fewer children, don't they? They tend to. Like back in the day, they used to have like 6-8 kids because a lot of them would die young, and they were also your insurance policy, because as you get old, you can't guarantee on a pension or anything like that, because we didn't have a society like we do. So you would have lots of kids, and then they would sort of keep you afloat when they got older. But these days, people have fewer children. 2.4 was the statistical average for a nuclear family, wasn't it? 2.4. So, like, you could discuss it, I suppose. It might bring up an interesting discussion, but I don't think we're going to have that now. What's Alan going to say?
Come on, Kaka, look it up.
Kaka, look it up.
Malthusian
Kaka is his Alexa. He's sat in front of a computer with Google, and he can't look that up.
Going on in the world.
Kaka's going to do
He's
it.
so intelligent. I don't know what.
And how's she going to explain it to him?
Means.
Is to basically demoralize young people based on this
We just moved on.
preposterous idea that essentially there are too many people on the planet.
Oh, pagers. Do you remember the pagers? We used to have a BT charge card, right? Do you remember the BT charge card? Which was, you'd go out and you used to have to ring reverse charges, like if you need picking up. So then you got the BT charge card and you could put it in the machine. It was like a phone card. And for a while, phone cards were a thing. And you'd put them in the, when I say the machine, the phone box. And you'd BT charge card and get your way home. And then phone cards were a thing, weren't they? But yeah, the pager, we used to have a pager for a little bit. It was so cool to have it. Like me and my sister both wanted to have one. We didn't really need one, but it did get, used sometimes. Mainly parents, paged, time to get picked up. Call this number. Use your BT charge card.
Human beings are a kind of cancer, that all masculine striving upward is part of the pathological patriarchy, which is a real lovely thing to teach young men who and if they manage to...
Oh, the patriarchy's come into conversation, but we're not decrying it. Because, hello.
to escape, the criticism as well of
It's been really good, Jordan, you dickhead. I've grown up learning about the patriarchy, and it's really helped me to navigate a world where equality is still a nascent social idea, where what we're trying to do is establish these ideas for the future and ensure that everyone gets a fair crack. Like, I'm so grateful to have learned about the patriarchy, because I might have fallen into those ignorant traps, and the traps that you put out for other people. I'm so lucky. I mean, I was in a maternal, we had the Queen, didn't we? Like, matriarchy. We had Prime Minister Thatcher, matriarchal, but she wasn't very motherly. But I, was raised with a mother and a sister, so no, I'm not against the women. In fact, I'm quite pro the women. I understand feminism. Some people might argue they're trying to push it too far and have the women in control. But I'd see feminism as just like a push for equality, really. Even though, you could argue that it's more than that. And I would argue in favour of feminism, especially when the balance is tipped so hard in patriarchal. You need to push it this way. We don't live in a terrible place because women have a vote and can do jobs and be pop stars and run their own lives. That's not a bad thing. What a terrible thing to teach boys about how society can be tipped into a misogynistic imbalance. Don't want to teach them that.
Of their play styles when they're young, then their ambition comes under assault, and they're fed a never-ending diet of apocalyptic catastrophe that's human caused, and caused even worse by exactly the human ambition that actually, in the main, makes things better. So it's not surprising they're demoralized, and the same is true.
I don't think Alan's following.
True for young women. I mean, they're divorced, increasingly divorced from their traditional destiny, which is associated with monogamous marriage and.
I'm talking to you.
Oh my God, he's going to cut in again. I'm telling you now, right? I've got no idea how long this is going to take tonight. I promised you a bit of Paul Arnott at the start of the show. I can't guarantee that now. I feel like I might be in for a bit of a long haul here watching this. We could break it into two parts. So just bear with me while I just roll with the show, because this is only 8 minutes into an hour and 20, and it looks like a bit of a classic.
People over 30, over 40.
Traditional destiny, which is associated with monogamous marriage and
I'm talking to you, people over 30, over 40, over 50, over 60.
He's talking to people over 30, over 40, over 50, and over 60. I mean, who does he think he's talking to?
Well, you're a teenage girl.
When you're a teenage girl...
Your aim, I'm just guessing, was to get married, monogamy, to one man for the rest of your life and raise a family. Was that not an expectation, a possible goal for young girls in the 60s, 70s, 50s?
In chat, can you answer, Alan? Was it an expectation or possible goal of young ladies in, I don't know, the 50s or 60s to get married to one man and raise a family?
That's what he's saying. That's what it was. And now,
and he's talking to the over 40s, 50s, 60s, referencing the teenagers. He's talking when he said, if you're a teenage girl, okay, so the past, teenagers encouraged to get married and become a housewife, females, yeah, women. I don't really need to, you know, I'm going to let you say things in chat about this because I don't think I need to. I think you understand what I'm going to say as a critique to this, so maybe he'll understand it as well and he'll go on to say something slightly better.
of course, I've got to be careful what I say.
You've got to be careful what you say. You don't. You can just say what you want. You're on Rumble. They talk about trad wives, the American Trump politics. It's all about like this idea. Like honestly, right-wing evangelical Christian politics. There is a modern idea but that trad wife, traditional wife, and what's wrong with being a traditional wife, and why wouldn't you want to just live in a house and do what your husband tells you while he goes out and lives a life? Like you know, the trad wife is actually being marketed on social media, of all places, by the evangelical Christian propagandists who are heavily lobbying the Republicans, so that because Trump needs their votes in order to run for president.
Being equal, isn't it? About being equal now.
And that's why you can't have an abortion.
The rearing of children, and I'm not saying, just for anybody foolish who might be listening, that that's all women are capable of, but it's also something I hold in extremely high esteem. You know,
yeah, obviously, Jordan, men have to raise children as well, you fucking arsehole. I just want to, like, sometimes, like, I want to reach into the computer and just play Minecraft with the guy. Like, the raising of children is an expectation upon women, which is a noble one and is good, so you shouldn't reject it. Like, you should become a baby factory and stay at home. Like, men are also responsible for their children and should also take on that responsibility. What did I call him then? What's his name? Jordan. I nearly called him Nigel. I don't know why Nigel came out. Jordan. We've got Nigel in chat. Nigel's our friend in chat. I wasn't thinking of that, Nigel. Why, Jordan, are you going to say this on... this baffles me as well, right? I know it's a position. Like, this is a... what Jordan Peterson's doing is he's playing a game of chess here, a political chess game. You know, he's saying, I've got these values, so people will support me if they've also got these values. I'm on Piers Morgan to appeal to a section of the audience. That's what he's doing. He knows where he's not wanted, so he's not going to appeal to them, so he appeals to their enemies. Like this is Jordan Peterson's whole media presence in a nutshell. Is he was attacked by the modern liberal, left-wing, you know, the wokies for refusing to use someone's chosen pronouns in class, and he lost his job over it. So he sees them as against him. So he is therefore, you know, Hegelian dialectics, now this spokesperson for the other side. And he argued his point, he stuck by it, he was boorish and he wouldn't change, he lost his job, now he's in that position and he's still doing it. Like, just setting himself against people. And the people that he's setting himself against, I hope, are the sort of people that would watch my show, that are in my chat. Good people that would prefer to live in a world where people like Wendy James are successful and people like Jordan Peterson and not, but like he is actually relatively successful in his own way, isn't he? Selling his books to idiots on the internet, using social media to sell his books to young men who feel socially disenfranchised. Big ups Lisa Austin, shouts out you. I just spotted you saying hello to me in chat, so I'll say hello to you. This is just bizarre though. Would you rather go back to a world where women should stay at home and raise the children?
It's all about being equal.
I mean, you can still stay at home and raise children if that's your choice in our society, if it's your choice, yeah. And you can also have a job and raise children, and you can also share the load of raising the children with your partner. Like, or like if they're not, you know, modern families, you can have two ladies raising children these days, and they can get married. So welcome to the world.
What wasn't it about being equal now?
The rearing of children. And I'm not saying, just for anybody foolish who might be listening, that that's all women are capable of, but it's also something I hold in extremely high esteem.
But listen as well, you're not just saying that's all they're capable of, but you're saying this is your chosen, like your choice for what they should do is your, like, and you're saying it on Piers Morgan.
You know, Piers, we have a situation now in the West with regards to young women. So young men are demoralized. 50% of women 30 and under are now childless.
And he mentions the West, right? Well, why don't we go over to the East then? Why don't we all like? Because I tell you what, the children, the ladies in like Saudi Arabia or Syria and places like that, like the Afghani ladies and the ones under the Taliban, I'm sure they'd stay at home and have lots of children. What do you want, Jordan?
In the West, 50.
No, you can prefer. Yeah, you can be educated and prefer the kitchen and cleaning. Like, it's your choice, isn't it? Like, I'm not saying women shouldn't look after their families. Like, but I'm saying they shouldn't be like forced to by society who sees them as baby factories. And like this idea about depopulation and like we need to have more babies and women should be like if you look at our society, people in the lower end of the spectrum on the working class end, they do have more children, don't they? And that's why there's more children in poverty. Like, this argument is that it shouldn't be your choice to live your life the way you want to, because you should be basically a baby factory for the patriarchy. And why do we need so many fucking babies? They're growing up in poverty. You're not providing for them. Like, how many of these babies grow up in families where the father has fucked off? Like, are you married happily, Jordan, with children? Like, what are we even talking about here?
And half of them will never have a child. And 90% of them will regret it.
Statistics there, half of people under this age or over this age won't have a child, and 90%, it's just 80% of the time it works all the time. Made up facts.
Let's dwell on that. 50%.
Oh, let's dwell on it. Where are the facts coming from? Is it a survey of 10? Like, it's just you can prove anything with statistics, can't you? Come on.
Women over 30 are childless. And so many.
Gold. I know this is a little bit political, but it's a different kind of political, and I'm really happy to go here, because if these people want to embarrass themselves like this, I think it's almost funny. Like, it is funny, isn't it? So, like, I'm so glad that I've got an audience of good people that can see through this nonsense without me having to explain it all the time. But I do pause it and explain it all the time, and I am sorry if I pause it too much. This is my bag, this is the way I go, and I find this to be absolute gold. 10 minutes into a 1 hour 20, and already it's total gold dust.
90% of those will never have children, and most of them will regret it. Wow, some statement, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
50% of women over 30 haven't got a child. And what percentage, Mr. Peterson, will never have children?
And they're fed a never-ending diet of apocalyptic catastrophe that's human-caused and caused even...
Listen, I've been drinking this big bottle all day. I'm in and out of the bathroom now. As soon as I start going now, the watershed moment, I'm going to go bathroom now, and then I'll be popping in and out. But it's because of the big bottle, big bomb bobber.
Worse by exactly the human ambition that actually, in the main, makes things better. So it's not surprising they're demoralized. And the same is true for young women. I mean, they're divorced completely, increasingly divorced from their traditional destiny, which is associated with monogamous marriage and the rearing of children. And I'm not saying, just for anybody foolish who might be listening, that that's all women are capable of, but it's also something I hold in extremely high esteem. Piers, we have a situation now in the West with regards to young women. So young men are demoralized. 50% of women 30 and under are now childless in the West. 50%. And half of them will never have a child.
Oosh. Listen, right, this is making me mad as well. Big ups, Julie DJ. Thank you for the super chat while I was in the bathroom. Come on, button.
I've got a big armchair.
That was loud, wasn't it?
Taught you the battery boy.
I can't believe Jordan Peterson said that it was women's... What did he say? He said something about it being their destiny. Like, their destiny to raise these children and to be a family, like, stay-at-home cook. Like, their destiny. Like, there was no... he called it traditional destiny. There's no traditional destiny. That's something that society ascribes to you, that men tell you have to do. There's no traditional destiny. Women's traditional destiny can be the ruler of our country. The women's traditional destiny can be the hunter-gatherer. It can be anything. There's no traditional destiny, because women are the ones that bear the children. Therefore, they must stay there and nurture them, and therefore, like, no one can help, and they have to just, like, strong females in nature go about doing stuff. Get used to it. Just get used to it. They feed the children. Like, it's It's making me want to like grit my teeth, especially, you know, growing up as a single parent family, seeing my mother work really hard to get a degree and then a good job to pay for things in our society that works that way, and also be a really good mother. One that I'm obviously very, very grateful for. A traditional destiny. Like, this is wrong.
So 75% of women over 30 in the West will never have a child.
Wait, listen, also, if they've got a problem with this, they can just come to Scotty Hottie, can't they? Get Scotty Hottie up on the billboards. Scotty Hottie sperm donor. Jordan Peterson sponsors Scotty Hottie. I'm going to go around and shag everyone that's over 30, get them all knocked up. Then they can all be happy, can't they? We fixed the world.
Something comes to mind there.
And 90% of them will regret it.
75%.
Alan's done his bit, hasn't he? By having children with women and then failing in the marriage and not sticking around. He's done his bit.
Of women in the West will never have a child. And 90% of them will regret not having a child. What does that mean for the population as a whole? Well,
And also, shouts out Julie, like, not everyone has to have children. Like, it's no obligation on anyone to do anything that society ascribes as, like, you know, your reason for existence. It's like the whole point of our free society in a modern world is you choose your own destiny, isn't it? You have that freedom, even if you're a woman. Like, I can't believe we're arguing. Like, really, when you think about the deep underlying points here, what we're arguing is that we should go back to a world where you don't have freedom of choice, especially if you're a woman.
Of this materialism, it holds a population tends to increase.
Oh, you're having a storm. I'd like to find out more about that. I hope the internet doesn't crap out completely. I'll talk to you after the show. I like storms in general, but I don't get to experience like mad storms like that. 775 mile per hour winds. When we get them around the coastline, but I'm safely landlocked.
Faster than the supply of food.
I was going to say 600 mile winds to take your house off like the fucking 600 mile winds would take your house off like the Wizard of Oz.
It's preventing the progress of mankind. He advocated premarital chastity and late
What's Alan
marriage.
talking about now?
Well, that's what's happening. They're not wanting to bring children in the world because they're told the children's apocalypse. So we're going, don't bring children in the world. And the boys are going, it's going to, oh, Nosy Nana, thank you very much.
Nosy Nana's giving some money for that. People are having kids. They are.
Right.
During lockdown, there was a boom in childbirth, wasn't there? More people had kids because they were locked down, having sex with each other, having kids.
Kind donation to the cause, Nosy Nana thing. So if the boys are thinking the world's a state and what the heck, and that's permutating.
Okay, Alan, I get it. You're just regurgitating what they just said to you.
So the girls say, I'm not having children in this world. And then when they get older, they go and say, I wish I had a child, and they haven't got one. All the while, they're not.
Do you know what? There's loads of kids need adopting. Right, it's just a thought, isn't it, Alan?
On West, let's say the Middle East, a population growing like mental, aren't they? In certain religions, it's okay to have 4 wives.
Oh my God. With no statistical background or basis. I mean, we're talking about differences in culture, we're talking about differences in third world and first world, and, you know, I described about how I'm not going to go over points that I've talked about earlier.
So it's pretty obvious if 75% of Western women aren't having any kids, and, like, say, 75% of Middle East women are having loads of children, multiple children, isn't there going to be, like, a population explosion of one particular race and religion in our country and the West, isn't it? Isn't that obvious? That's pretty frightening.
Maybe you should look into it and do the models, do the graphs.
You know, by the time you're 30, you're already a geriatric mother. And if you're single and 30 and childless, you have a lot of problems to solve in a very short period of time. And then you also got to ask yourself, well, what's your life going to be like if you're partnerless and childless from your 30s going forward?
What?
You know, and we know in keeping with that the the segment of the population that's most politically alienated at the moment is in fact young women from the ages of 18 to 34. And that's also partly because they get almost all their information from TikTok.
I'll tell you what, that's why they want to get into their heads. Young women 18 to 34, not bothered about voting and not bothered about all this bollocks and all this right-wing propaganda. How do we get into their heads? And I'll tell you how they get into their heads. True crime. How do you get people engaged in a conspiracy and to believe that the establishment doesn't have their best interests at heart? How do you get them engaged in this? Because the right wing aren't the establishment really. You know, the far right wing, they're not the establishment really. Like, they'd love to be. They want power and control. How do we get into those people's heads? Well, we start off with true crime. We move on to conspiracy, weirdness, can't trust the media, can't trust this, can't trust that, follow us on GB News. You know, you move through that, you end up having influencers from that space advising people to vote fucking reform. It's a weird mechanism, but they used to do it with, it's interesting with cars. They used to sell cars and essentially who's got the purse strings, who's got the money, who's going to make the decision. And it used to be men. It used to be that you wanted to appeal to the breadwinner, the man. Like, I'm talking about the 60s now, you know, who's going to choose what car magazine, who's going to choose the car? Well, the man is, so you want to appeal to the man. Put a lady on the car, make her look sexy, get the man involved. And more, the matriarch of the household makes these decisions, chooses which car we get. We need a family carrier, we need to get the shopping in the back. Like, more and more females make decisions and men, like, in terms of consumer behaviour, the men in the family don't drive that consumer behaviour, the women do, and also the children. You'd be surprised about how important it is that the children are happy with that choice in certain families' situations. This is marketing in the modern world. So they market these things differently to different people now. So if you want to sell cars, there's no point in putting a naked woman on it because it's not going to sell it to the ladies that are going to put the children in it. So, and that's me not being sexist. You know, women don't have to have children in their cars. They can drive sports cars as well, Audi TTs. You know, the point is there's different mechanisms now, but the same mechanism is used to get into the heads of those people. Like, when you're selling to a group of ladies from 18 to 34 that are on TikTok, as he says, your mechanism to get into their head has to be different to if you're trying to get into the heads of like 1940s males. So they literally, and I think, like I said, the current, like, one of the things, not the only thing, because I'm not on TikTok and I'm not in this demographic and I'm not seeing it all, I guess, but what I really noticed, because I flirt against true crime content, don't I? What I really noticed was that there's so much of that is used as a lever to get into the minds of that particular demographic. And it was actually stated very clearly by Mark Williams Thomas in a video that we've watched a number of times, where he literally says that true crime enables him to get into the minds of that demographic.
And TikTok is a rat hole of propaganda, funded by Iran, funded by China, funded by...
Alan, you're on TikTok. You think TikTok's great. It's now a rat hole of propaganda. Aren't you going to take that point?
At the moment is in fact young women from the ages of 18 to 34. And that's also partly because they get almost all their information from TikTok. And TikTok is a rat hole of propaganda, funded by Iran, funded by China, funded by Russia, but Iran and China primarily. And so you're right in your first supposition is that we've made immense strides forward, especially since the Berlin Wall fell and the idiot communist regimes around the world that were doing everything they could to destroy their own people's economy have collapsed, and people have turned, at least in the main, to something.
Russia, China.
Approximating free market and free exchange solutions. And so the world has 8 billion people on it, something like that, 7 to 8 billion. We'll peak at about 9. We've done a tremendous amount to eradicate absolute poverty. And there are lots of reasons to be positive, but that's all in the face of an anti-human campaign that's really been going on since the 1960s with the Club of Rome and Paul Ehrlich, the Stanford biologist, who's, I don't know if he's the worst person who's emerged in the last 60 years, but he's certainly a contender. It's a massive campaign.
Okay, I don't know exactly what his work is, but you'd have to be more specific, because Jordan, again, you're speaking in weird generalities and slogans rather than being specific about things. Alan loves it. He doesn't know what's going on. That's why he loves it. He thinks this sounds good.
Demoralization. No, and I see it everywhere when I tour around lecturing. Like young people dying for the lack of an encouraging word. It's really, and in the face of all this possibility, you know, it's really quite awful.
Yeah, it is. And I was very struck by something that Elon Musk said to you when you interviewed him for your hugely successful podcast. Let's take a look.
Stop wasting your time with methods like e-commerce, trading, and SMMA. If you're serious about making money online, then you need...
Alan, you shouldn't be using YouTube. Not only is it the mainstream media that you complain about, but you're banned.
So tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys.
Elon Musk is talking. Are we gonna? I only want the Alan reacts. I don't. Skip Elon
Watch
Musk.
that kind of human.
Alan's not interested.
Someone like Elon will do that, facilitating medical.
Alan's gone quiet now.
And Nazis and
schools.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
In the running up to World War II.
Again, that is some statement. So what he's saying is that schools.
I would also say
Swami seems to...
Shit, I skipped. We're only start. Oh no, it was just after Elon Musk, wasn't it? It was just after Elon Musk.
Boy, that he had this son. Help him in own family.
Professional children seen in
college
who has been under, and even someone like Elon Musk has a family that falls prey to it. And you said at the beginning of this interview that I tend to say things that are, let's say, incendiary. So I might as well do that right now. I think that every single medical professional and psychological professional who has been, who's played a role in facilitating the trans butchery of minor children should be put in.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Elon Musk's got a particular bee on his bonnet, about this, because his son lives as a trans woman. And it could be argued that some children do the very thing that makes their parents the most cross as a rebellion. And you could worry that children shouldn't be making those serious, defining biological choices that could, I agree that you maybe shouldn't be giving like surgeries and things to children without very, very, very careful consideration. Maybe even if at all. I understand that. Rebellion choices, how you feel as a teenager might change. Should you really get that tattoo? And it's a bit more than a tattoo. But complex world that we live in, you also can't remove things like puberty blockers, because there are kids that go through like hormonal imbalance problems and stuff. Like, you can't just make blanket bans on certain aspects of gender medication. It's a complex issue, isn't it? But not one that many, many people suffer with. Like, I don't think this is the very height of our political agenda, because there are loads and loads and loads of people suffering with it. But for those to whom it's an acute problem, it's very important. But to the wider society, it doesn't really. And again, this is right-wing American politics, so that Donald Trump can get elected on a ticket of this being something that gets in your egg. Because I don't think many of us are personally affected. And if you have a child and they are going through this, you will be personally affected. But other than that, the wider society doesn't take on any sort of strong net negative effect. It doesn't lift any children out of poverty. It doesn't put any children in poverty. It doesn't help the NHS or burden the NHS, not dramatically. I mean, there is medical aspects to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe we're talking about a more philosophical aspect of what we allow and see as permissible in society. We're talking about permissible aspects of our society then, really. But that's a philosophical conversation that you can have, and we are a permissive society. And that's one of the, again, it's a rough with a smooth aspect, isn't it? Being a permissive society means that you have to be accepting of other people's choices sometimes. So being all angry about it and making a big thing of it on the telly and having your face on so that Donald Trump can get a vote. Like, this is obviously, this show feels like it's sponsored by Donald Trump's media campaign to try and get him elected, doesn't it? Like,
prison for the rest of their lives for crimes against humanity. It is the worst medical and certainly psychological scandal that I've ever seen in my entire life. And the only things that I've seen...
It's not the worst medical scandal that you've seen in your life, because you've lived through the thalidomide fucking scandal where they gave all those people those tablets and then their babies came out deformed, and that was awful. It's not the worst medical scandal you've ever seen.
In the rival it are the medical experiments that were conducted by the Nazis and the Japanese in the running up.
No, the medical experience conducted by the Nazis is not the same as a family going to the doctor with their child and over a period of time discussing their options of gender assignment based on a modern approach to the psychology and treatment of gender dysphoria. Like, it's not the same. Like taking your child into a backstreet butcher and having their knob cut off and stuck up inside them so they feel better about themselves, and then 2 weeks later they don't want a Barbie anymore, they want to go back to being a cowboy, and now we've got a problem. Yeah, but that's not what's happening really.
In World War II.
Again, that is some statement. So what it's saying is that schools, colleges...
What it is we're making a political football out of trans issues. That's what it is, political football. We're taking something very, very minor, political, like it's something that creates a lot of controversy though. Like if you look at all the issues that are important on the political, if you could create a sort of pie chart or I don't know, like if you could see it in terms of, I don't know, in talking of pies, let's see it in terms of your dinner. Politics is dinner. We've got to do the education for the nation. So that's going to be your first course, and you're going to have to eat it. You've got to eat all this stuff. It's politics, isn't it? I don't know, my weird metaphor. And then your main course is going to be like the economy's stupid, isn't it? People's money, poverty, all that sort of stuff. Like, I'm talking about after dessert. I'm talking about after the coffee. And I'm not saying we should ignore these people, but I'm saying about the relative importance to the huge, wide society that we're talking about. After the dessert, after the coffee, after the mints. Like there might be like, I don't know, like, sometimes when you're leaving the curry house, they've got those little hundreds and thousands, these little aniseed sweets, tiny little something, a little sprinkle on top. That's the issue that's the trans issue, like the relative size to it. You've got the whole meal, you've got all these things you've got to stuff down 6 courses, and at the end we're talking about sprinkles on your coffee. Like it's just nothing really, is it? Like realistically in our day-to-day, like the big issues on our political tickets. But they make it into this big issue so you can all have an argument about it and feel eggy, get upset. And it comes from right-wing evangelical Christian values. Pray away the gay.
Pressure groups are telling children, boys and girls, that it's okay to change sex whenever you want. So, as far as I know it...
I don't think that's what the pressure groups are saying, Alan. I think the idea is that if a young person has gender dysphoria, they should feel free to voice it, and we should be able to explore it in a modern, like, responsible way.
To be, I don't know if it's America, you have to be at least 16 or 18 to consent to having a sex change, really. To change your sex is, it's forever, isn't it? If you take away your male organs.
No. So what we're talking about when we're talking about gender dysphoria amongst young children is that the onset of puberty can be quite traumatic. And so not just for this issue, but for others as well, you can delay that with hormones. So not a permanent thing, but a delay. That's not the entire issue, of course, but like, you see how different that is to like cut off your thing and stick it up inside you, and then you've got, and all that.
That is, or you have a double mastectomy. This is like, should 15-year-olds be doing that? Should doctors be allowed to do that? Should doctors even consent to do that?
I would argue no, myself. The way our society's set out, I would say that serious medical procedures like that, whether they're cosmetic or psychological or whatever you want to put the box in, 18 should be the cutoff for that, like minimum. Like similar to like most stuff. I can't drive until I'm 18, get a tattoo. So I'd argue no, but maybe we agree on that. But then it's a really weird extreme example, isn't it?
Should psychologists advise kids to do it if you want? It's not right, is it? That can't be right, can it?
I don't think you understand it fully, Alan. And I don't think, I consider doing a series on it on my own show, but whilst there's positives to it and negatives to it, overall, like I said, if I could fix anything, I'd like to fix child poverty. And I hope that trans people have a fair and free... I take it as an assumption in our society that people are free to make their own choices in their lives. So I hope that they can continue to live their own free lives.
Because how many of those children will claim later in their life that they didn't want to do it, really?
Some do. Some take it back mentally. They change their minds. Yeah, some do.
See this pressure. I've seen it in the schools in my country. That
obviously some don't as well. So
you're allowed to identify as a cat, a dog, a wolf.
There's no identifying as a cat. He said it now. Where's the button?
Woke bollocks number 2. I'm a cat.
The problem is, right, that story about being identifying as a cat came from a school was having a debate about these sort of issues, and as part of the debate, one group was asked to argue in defence of identifying as a cat. It was a thought experiment, and so they talked about it. Someone videoed it, and someone said, "Look, they're identifying as a cat," and they never were. It was made up by the right wing to create more controversy about these issues. No one is trying to identify as a cat. No one is arguing about identifying as a cat, except the sixth form of a certain school in like Essex or somewhere.
Whatever you want. And once you've done that, it's not so much of a jump to say, why don't you change sex if you feel better? But they're children, aren't they? And Dr. Peterson's saying they should be in prison forever for the doctors for doing that.
It's absolutely 100% unforgivable. And that lie that he told Elon Musk, would you rather have a live trans child or a dead?
And this is where we're getting into horror cow territory, where lol cow, someone that's funny to laugh at, because we've been laughing at him tonight. It is funny, but where it crosses into this territory of broadcasting the right-wing propaganda, the sleaze, the horror, the nasty stuff, agreeing with it, dragging me down into it. I'm not prepared to do that. So we'll skip over this again. We'll carry on skipping this shit. And I'll just look out for Alan doing some talking.
And understand my thoughts on it.
Coming under attack.
So when I watched this is why I came live today. Because you know that I have a court battle over free speech.
Oh my God. 20 minutes in, it's now about Alan and his court battle. The narcissist reigns. I'm glad I skipped. Yeah, go ahead.
And I heard this today. And it's very important that you hear it and understand my thoughts on it and what Mr. Peterson says about it. Free speech.
Probably like we've never seen.
So again, I was able to spot that Alan watched this video earlier. That's why he's brought it to his stream. He just saw it earlier and thought Jordan Peterson looked good. And it's very important that you hear what he says so he can back up Alan.
Free speech be attacked before. Is it because
Alan, didn't you try and ban me off? Didn't you try and get me off YouTube from talking about you? Haven't you tried to shut me up from talking about you by sending the police? Didn't they say, well, it's free speech? Alan, aren't you an advocate for shutting down free speech when it suits you?
People don't understand what free speech actually is, or is it because this woke mind virus that Musk talks about has turned?
And haven't you been free to say what you want, but now you're accountable for your actions and have to go to prison if you're inciting hatred?
People who, if you ask them, would say, "Oh, I'm a liberal," but it's actually turned them into a new breed of fascist.
You're the fascists.
Well, we can't again underestimate the impact of the new technologies. You know, we've invented a whole variety of means to network people together at a scale and a rate that's never been attempted before in human history. And we're playing with all these technologies that look trivial on the surface. You know, for example...
Yeah, you're on YouTube. You're doing it now, Jordan. You're talking on a show that's broadcast on YouTube through technology.
On Twitter, for a long time, the character limit was 140 characters. Well, we have no idea what happens to the human race when you link hundreds of millions of people together and flood them with political information and only allow them to communicate in 140
flood them full of political information. Who's doing that?
Character burst. I mean, that's equivalent, Piers, that's equivalent to a
no one's forced to go on Twitter.
Biological mutation.
Alan's gone.
Like, it's a major transformation, and it's only one of a series of such transformations that are continually occurring in the virtual space. And so one of the things we have to understand is that we can't contend with this because we don't understand the significance of the technologies. You know, I've been watching Zuckerberg and Musk.
What you mean is you don't understand it, but young people understand it a lot more and just navigate it a lot more easily. I'm sure there are young people today writing theses on these very subjects, but you don't understand it very well, Jordan.
Try to deal with the issue of policing the net. And you can see both of them are whipping boys in a way. You know, Zuckerberg is a whipping boy for people on the right, and Musk is a whipping boy for people on the left.
So again, Alan thought it was really important we should hear this. And I don't think it is. And I don't think he really is even understanding it properly.
But they're both making a mistake. Both groups are making a mistake in attacking those two, in my estimation, even though they may have done things that weren't wise or well considered as they were experimenting their way forward. It's like nobody knows how to police the net. And the idea that you can link together hundreds...
Nobody knows how to police the net. Well, obviously the police do. They've got a reasonable idea. And so do our lawmakers and governments, don't they? That's the whole point. Like, we put those ideas together. Like, we together put those ideas forward, and then they get implemented. Like, we have got some ideas on how to, but also how much should you? Like, where should you and how should you? Because there are people that fucking well need policing on the internet. Some of the shit they're sharing around. Some of the shit they take photos of and charge people money for on apps like Telegram after soliciting them through Smule. You know? Send them the file. There's another 50. Taking photos of people in public without their knowledge or consent. Send them the file. So the... yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought ridiculing Alan.
Or well considered as they were experimenting their way forward. It's like nobody knows how to police the net.
Oh yeah, policing the net. And maybe some spaces, I don't know, right? I think some spaces shouldn't be necessarily policed because it's a free space, like society's public, you know, forums. You should be able to speak freely. But also, in terms of our society needs policing, like, you should be accountable. So I really think that we should all have our own identity attached to our social media accounts. So that if you say something online and it crosses the line and it's hate speech and it's like criminal, then, or harassment, for example. Harassment's another good one, isn't it? People who think they can hide but are committing harassment, whether you at someone in a video or send something to their house or whatever, like, you know, weird shit like that. Harassment, which just goes to the police, doesn't it? They do want to know who you are. Like, they do go and find out, even if your name is not directly connected to your account. Like, you know, they find out through your emails, through your activities and all that, don't they? So maybe you should have just our identities attached to our social media accounts, and then you can speak freely and be accountable for it. But I also believe that online spaces, that I'm getting too serious now. I'm not, it should be a comedy show, but this is the fun sponge, is all this bollocks, isn't it? People who drag everything down, pick at everything in this way. Like, you don't want to have fun in society because they're nasty fucking old patriarchs. The online space, though, should have anonymity because it allows people to come up and speak up and to you know, have their voices heard, doesn't it? You know, look at how people shared secrets on WikiLeaks, things like that. So maybe, you know, anonymous spaces on the internet are still important as well. You know, anonymity is important, isn't it, sometimes?
And the idea that you can link together hundreds of millions of people who can now communicate while bearing no responsibility whatsoever for the content of their utterances, the idea that we can do that without a policing mechanism is absurd. Yeah. We've never been able to do that.
Right, obviously they are policing those people. They're getting arrested for the incitement to hate on Twitter. So
now, what the police...
So what he's saying is there's millions of people come on to, say, Facebook and YouTube. 10 people come on to Rumble. That's not the point. They're...
Joke at his own expense there. There's millions of people go on Facebook and YouTube, and only 10 people come on Rumble. But I thought you had hundreds watching you all the time, Alan. Only 10? Are you faking the rest of the views?
They're going on there, saying what they like, sometimes hiding behind oaths, sometimes they have false names, sometimes they're real people. And they're just saying stuff off the top of their head with no realization of what they're saying could be hurting other people, or are they saying things that are untrue about other people? Well, they are.
Alan, it gets worse than that. You've got fake accounts run by organisations, political or criminal, and they're presenting as normal people and infecting the true space as well. It's worse than you think. You don't even understand it properly.
It's leading to persecution of people all the time and cancelling of people.
Big up Sarkhan. Shouts out to Boone. There's a blast from the past. I'll go there. A little bit of a cheery up. A little bit of a blast from the past. Obviously I can't play more of it because it's going to get us copyright, and if you can't hear that in the edit, you know, it's because it had to be cut out, so you probably don't even hear me saying this. Back to this nonsense.
policing method should be. Now, that's a complicated problem, right? It's just as complicated as the issue of free speech and its limits itself. And the truth of the matter is we don't know. You know, I talked to Lex Friedman on a...
Oh, shut up, Jordan Peterson.
I get people call me names and make up stories about me. If just 1 in 20 are nuts, imagine if you get those group of nuts together and they call themselves truthers. Imagine that you've got a group of nutters
It's
together
2020.
saying we're the truth.
It's 2024. It's 2024.
When in fact they're the liars. Total liars.
See, they'll weaponize political discourse, left wing and right wing, because they don't give a damn about politics. They'll weaponize political discourse to bring
You're doing it now, Jordan. You're currently weaponizing political discourse
attention to themselves.
to draw attention to yourself, to sell your books.
And they can do that online with their anonymous accounts.
Looking to each other going, yeah, that indeed is a terrible man. Oh, yeah. You say something worse about him. If you say something worse about him than I do, then you'll be more famous than me. And they have a greasy ladder of fame. But people who have insulted me worse and worse till they get...
Alan, are you insane? Do you think you can... Alan thinks that there's a hierarchy of fame based around people who insult him, that there's enough of us... Like, he himself is enough of a notable public figure to create a subculture of people who hate him, like Dark Side Phil, for example, does. And I suppose you could argue, that within that subculture, which sort of could be argued to exist a community online of very sparse community, like some truthers who are still sticking to their guns from fucking 5 years ago, like us who just watch you intermittently because you're a lolcow, yeah. And within us, like, I suppose for me, it's just me on my channel. So for me, the way I'd see it, because I'm an individual, is that I have a hierarchy, whereas the worse I can treat you and the funnier I can be pushes me up the hierarchy of just me. And that's some sort of social status amongst the wider society, where I can go in the pub and say, oh, I'm the top person who's been most mean to Alan this week. Buy me a drink. Like, what are you talking about?
To the top. One particular one has gone as far as to call me a P or... Yeah.
It's not that I went as far as to do that. It's you went as far as to solicit children on the internet to sing with you on an app called Smule, and it was in a live session called a live jam, and they were there before and after, and it probably wasn't the first one. It was, you did that private public mistake, so that one was public, and they had to switch the thing off Smule after problems, didn't they? Yeah, it's because we found you doing stuff that is completely horrifically Nancy. Like, there's no question about it. If anyone wants to defend it, go ahead. If you want to argue against it, go ahead. So what? If someone had walked in the room and seen you doing what you were doing with those kids on Smule, and it was their family members, just put yourself in the shoes, just imagine it. Alan, that's something you've done. And it wasn't just that. It was the lifetime of circumstantial evidence. I mean, we've got you saying this.
There is no child porn on the internet. I hate to warn you that. There is no child porn on the internet. I checked.
Come on, Alan. Come on. Give it up now.
He climbs to the top of the greasy pole, gone to the limit, right? The limit to any man is to call him a P. And
right. Obviously, do you know they were calling you that before? That was a big drama amongst the truther community, and I didn't even know about it. I didn't call you any nonce words until I found you singing with kids on Smule. Like,
one that climbed that greasy pole.
Hey, well, dementing the entire...
And now I sit atop the greasy pole.
...field of discourse to everyone's downfall. Like, a friend of mine has been doing polling on main political issues for the last...
I'll tell you what, that does really irk genetic code, doesn't it?
AD.
Genetic code, hermetic toad.
AD's sexual deviant.
She doesn't like it that I'm better and I got Alan kicked off YouTube. She's eggy about it.
AD's sexual deviant.
Some of them still want someone to hate. It's like they enjoyed just doing the hating. Like, for us now the job is done, we can sort of have a little laugh every few weeks, you know, check in from time to time, put him on Nutterwatch. But for some people, they liked the daily hate. They enjoyed the daily battle with Alan. They liked the fact it was going nowhere, because that was their lives. Going nowhere, stuck in a rut, doing it forever. But it gave them satisfaction. And now some of them feel it's done, and the movement's changed and times have moved on, and some of them don't want to carry on with it anymore. And bitter, twisted, hangers on, clingers on, like Hermetic Toad, will never stop and feel bitter, so they've got to turn it on other people.
AD's sexual deviant, AD's a con man, AD's a crook, AD owes tax.
Last few months, he's working on a project designed to address the excesses of the victimizer narrative that underlies such phenomena, let's say, as anti-Semitism. And he showed quite clearly that Americans, and you could extrapolate to the rest of the West, Americans...
Is he getting born again, Alan?
Hold far more division, ancient...
Silenced and even sued, or even beaten up, or even done away with. That's how far they went. And I've been off of YouTube for a year now, and they still buzz around. The population has dwindled, but they're still there, wishing me no longer to be alive, to be honest with you.
There's evidence that sex itself evolved to bring...
what they call fame amongst this very small system of truthers, right? And some became more famous.
Right, well, he can't be talking about me again, because I'm not in the system of truthers, so the end.
Than others. And they lived off it, and fed off it, and breathed off it.
People. And like, I think of all the, what you say, first talked about
face and uses his name.
Platforms, the anonymous people and the verified human beings should be put in separate bins. Like, I think.
So what he's saying, one solution would be to put verified people like me, who shows his face and uses his name.
Armchair Detective is not your name. You filter your face. Yeah, so that's not the raw you. And your name isn't Ian Black, nor John Bray, Alan, nor Painful Slow.
Should be in one bin as real people, and the trolls, like, oh, once you know all their names.
You know all their names? You shouldn't know all their names, Alan, because they're all anonymous. They're going in the other bin, remember?
Don't use their real names. Don't use any pictures. They should be in another bin, because they're not. I mean, they don't carry much weight, does it? It doesn't carry any weight when you.
The truth carries weight.
Make up an oath and say things about people, knowing there's no repercussions. Whereas me, the real person, I've got to be careful what I can say, because I could be arrested, right?
Everyone can be arrested, Alan. Isn't the music from Sonic the Hedgehog? Possibly, yes. We're listening to relaxing video game music. Yeah, this is Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed. It's called Apotos Day. I'll give you a replay from the very start again.
Can't. So they shouldn't be allowed to mix with me.
Well spotted, Kelly.
Those people, those trolls, those truthers should not have been allowed in my space.
Well, we try and speed through this fucking weird nonsense, half an hour into an hour and 20. I mean, Alan's having a good go at it. At least he's reacting to it more than he usually does. You know, the modus operandi of the Allens of this world is to play someone else's media for fucking hours and just never pause and talk. Like, pause and talk about their own life a little bit, or just something to just so they can fill the pause and talk for the fair use monster. But actually, Alan's doing a good job here of actually pausing it and putting his own ideas. Well, the ideas he's regurgitating back from Jordan Peterson that he listened to earlier, but having a good try anyway.
The anonymous people should be allowed to have their say, but they should be categorized separately from the verified human beings, because otherwise they can't be held responsible for their utterances. Now, we know there's an immense psychological...
So what are you arguing for here, Jordan? Because now we're saying free speech, but with the caveat, aren't we? Which is a caveat that we all agreed on, is being accountable for your actions. Like, but you're also saying no anonymity online anymore. So you've got to be careful about these things, you know? Plus, I don't believe you can, like, let's say you police the online and you create a space where it's all accountable, everyone's got their names and all that. Then, you know, you have to have an ID card to get on Facebook or whatever. You know, there's the Facebook Stasi are in force and they're out there policing everyone to make sure everyone's got their ID cards. Then there'll just be online spaces that will open up that aren't offering that. Like, and that's where, in some ways, you push the criminality in that space. In some ways, they do use it, you know, things like Telegram. But the ability to communicate anonymously on the internet is one of its, like, sort of founding principles. So, like, we need to have a big discussion and look at this. There's a really great documentary called The Internet's Own Boy. And if you want to learn about that, watch The Internet's Own Boy, the story of Aaron Swartz. We'll probably look at it at some point during our time on the internet. But it's a documentary, so I'll do an Alan and just watch it and pause it every now and then. But, you know, let the documentary play a bit, wouldn't I, if I was watching it? So, but I advise you go and watch it yourself at some point. It explains a lot about anonymity in the internet.
Literature on this. We know that if you put people in situations where they're shielded from the repercussions of their actions, they're much more likely to misbehave.
But also, we're talking about online spaces where people are leaving comments, so you can just block them. You can just mute them. You can just ignore them. And most modern online spaces, like YouTube, for example, won't allow things like homophobic hate speech. So if someone like Alan goes off on a mad rant and calls me Batty Boy over and over again, he gets removed from the platform. So you can have this like safety. It doesn't matter about anonymity. They didn't care who his name was. If they had his passport, he might not get arrested for it, but he's not allowed on to carry on doing it. So,
and that's really terrible in the case of people who are really prone to misbehave. Like if you're driving in your car, that bug shell you protect yourself with, you're much more likely to curse at someone if they cut you off than you would be if you were.
That's true. I swear at people all the time when I'm driving. Whereas if I'm in a street on a pathway, I won't swear at anybody.
So you're a fucking coward then, Alan, like he's describing, yeah? You're one of these people. Because I don't shout and swear at people when I'm driving. Like, even if they get a bit weird and do stupid stuff, it only makes me more eggy and it ruins my experience. Like, I've seen people get road rage and I don't think it's very fun. So, especially if there's passengers in the car, I think you're obligated as the driver to just be able to control yourself. So you're just telling us you lose your shit in the car, you lose your discipline. So you're one of these people.
If you feel insulated from...
I'm sure, listen, we've all been there. We've all said, oh, you fucking wanker or something like that in the car at some point. But we all know it's wrong, isn't it? And we should just be able to control ourselves. It's only a driving around. Safety's at stake, but it's driving around and you're unsafe if you're losing your shit.
Any repercussion, you're going to be much worse behaved. And if you're a terrible, psychotic, futuristic, possible murderer of somebody, then you're giving them free rein to say what they like. They're going to, like, between them, actually destroy people's lives, aren't they? They're bound to.
We're walking and they could hear you.
Right.
Like a lot of what regulates our social behavior is immediate feedback that pertains to our reputation. That's all stripped.
Well, not all. Again, like this is quite interesting actually for the first time on Alan's show, because Alan, you're on social media. So again, like, you know, we're talking about social media on social media and that immediate feedback loop, like we have it. Me as a content creator and Alan as a content creator more so. Do people watch? Do they not watch? Is an immediate one, isn't it? People tipping me tonight. You've been very generous. Like that's a feedback thing, isn't it? And comments, attitude, tone of chat, but you within chat and talking to each other, and on Twitter as well, which is probably the space that they're mainly alluding to or directly talking about, is like there's your reputation as an account, like. The amount of people that follow you, who retweet you, whether people give you a load of shit and community notes, that all stands, doesn't it? So you still have that. Like it's a different form of it. It's an immediate social online space. Like a lot of online space is self-police in ways. The only ones that you couldn't argue can do that as things like 4chan, where you just post anonymously, randomly. Like there can be not much, like, but even then there's a system of self-policing in that popularity is its own self-police in a way, and it might not always be for the right reasons and for the good, but it can often be. So like sometimes it is not popular to be the worst shit, the biggest bully, the nastiest nasty, like certainly definitely not. And that's why I wouldn't accept those mantles here on Battery Exhausted, where we detract from people who are grifters, con artists, liars, cheats, where we hold the bad people to account. Oh, they're lolcows and we bully them online. Yeah, funny, haha, trolling. But I don't bully them online, like send them SWAT teams, like, go into their personal lives and like do weird shit. Like it's about critique and counter argument and trying to make it funny. They feel the sting of the humour, don't they, when we ridicule them? So I guess that's like I said, it's ridiculing them. I'll be straight about it, but that's the game. I think it's disingenuous to suggest that online spaces are this unregulated Wild West, because they are social spaces in the main, like I said. And so you choose as well. You could hang out on Twitter where it's right-wing and racist. You could hang out on YouTube where it's video content. It's a different form, isn't it? But you've got your chat. You could hang out, like you could go in the different spaces, and people choose to for different reasons, and different spaces cultivate different audiences as well. So like, unlike Rumble, which doesn't cultivate an audience at all, but you know what I'm saying, don't you? So the people who want to go on the anonymous boards and be reckless and weird can go on there and be reckless and weird, and the ones who want a more streamlined or social experience can go on the ones that are more streamlined and social. Like that's society again. Like, which pub do you want to go in? Who do you want to hang around with? Like, these are choices. You're not forced to use these social media accounts.
locked away, especially in the case of the anonymous troll demons online. And it's really bad.
Jordan, let me ask you, is there a correlation between what you're talking about here and what is happening with these people who are now wanting to kill Donald Trump, for example? And in the case of the second shooter, is on record on his social media amplifying talking points that have been rammed home by Democrats, including Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton, and others. Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy. He was.
See, I want to take the politics out of that. It doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump or Alan Vinnicombe. It doesn't matter. If you've got people online saying Alan Vinnicombe is evil and he shouldn't be around, or Alan Vinnicombe should be squatted like a fly, I've seen on certain posts that I am a virus and I need to be destroyed. Where's the vermin control? I've seen these things. I've had these things sent to me. And if someone was as famous as, let's say, Pamela Harris, or whatever she's called, said something like that, then that would maybe incite someone to go and shoot Trump, wouldn't it? If someone said that Trump was a menace to society, don't care what side of the bridge you're on. If you're preaching to the 5% of the population who are psychopaths, some of those psychopaths will do your bidding. Oh, I better go and destroy Donald Trump.
Oosh.
Oh, I better go and destroy.
Pretty weak argument, I think.
Wait, the armchair detective.
And also, Alan didn't notice that they're trying to furiously shovel in Donald Trump votes. That's the whole point of this propaganda exercise. But yeah, it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Alan Vinnicombe, equal status. If Kamala Harris says go and, Alan Vinnicombe's a rat, someone might try and exterminate him. I mean, we're talking about the same rhetoric that the Nazis employed against the Jews, aren't we? And we saw where that went. So yeah, we should be careful about what we say in those ways if we're prominent public figures, I guess.
Where does he live? Oh, he lives here. What has he done? Well, he's a pig.
Alan, you published your own address on the internet. You published your own address on the internet. You did the Singing with Kids on Smule. It was public. We found it. You didn't realise. No one else. This is another thing, going back to the truthers. And shouts out to them, because I think Martin Dean's done a really good job of holding you to account all these years. And a lot of people have sort of ridden his coattails in terms of the information he's put out there. Hermetic Toad, but I was able to find at least one thing, did my bit, because we were just going through every one of your smules and laughing they were funny, all your idiot fucking pretending to use it like a normal person, and then we found this random one that you obviously didn't know was there. You wouldn't have left it there. Yeah, found that, didn't we, Alan? Found that.
She's vermin. He should be got rid of. Where does he live? He lives here. They have no idea what they've done to my life. They have no idea what they've done to me.
You've done it all. It's your life.
Right. Donald Trump's had 2 attempts on his life. Would those 2 attempts happen if there wasn't an election going on in the States?
No. I'll say no to that.
Where the other side are calling him.
But you know that Donald Trump mobilised all the most nutty people in society through the QAnon conspiracy, don't you? You know, all this eating babies and adrenochrome and Hillary Clinton's a robot and lizards are running the earth and all that, and it all goes back to the Jews, and all that is a right-wing evangelical Christian propaganda tool to get people to vote Trump, and it worked because they marched on the Capitol in his name. You do realise that, don't you, Alan? Carry on.
All sorts, right? Is that not public figures inciting hatred? That's not.
You're a fan of the fucking right wing, Alan. You've spent fucking weeks and weeks on TikTok parroting Farage and Tommy fucking Robinson. For fuck's sake.
Hatred been incited on me to an extreme level.
No, hatred is not being incited on you. People are angry at your bad behaviour, right? On the other hand, you're inciting hatred upon the weakest in our society with your rhetoric on TikTok.
Well, I've had to...
And you've done episodes on Rumble that you've deleted against the Muslims because you were so scared that you'd get put in prison. They're that hateful.
Become more or less a hermit. That's what they've done to me.
You're a hermit.
And the person that did it is a public figure.
Who?
Well, fair enough. He's only a public figure because his sister was murdered.
Oh my God.
But he calls me Vinnicombe. He perpetrated gangs of people to come after me online. And I'm thinking...
Alan, why do I hate you? Hate's a strong word, but you know what I mean? Why do I go after you, Alan? Is it anything to do with the Ruseks? No, that I learned about that weeks into my fucking problem with you. My problem with you was you're a thief and a liar, and you came onto my fucking space in YouTube, stole from me and lied about me. That was my problem. You fucking dick. And you thought I was little small, so you just stomp on me because you were Big Poppy. Jesus.
I'm the one.
And like, yeah, okay, so he's only a public figure because his sister got murdered. Like, how insensitive can you be? Or like, to this day, I hope they get their satisfaction in court, which they surely will.
Taken to court. Should it not be the other way around, honestly?
No, you shouldn't be taking the Rusick family to court, no. Oh my God. Like, sometimes I feel like my head's going to pop. Like, it's funny and it's horrific at the same time. And I'd say Alan's treading this, like, strange tightrope, and he always kind of has, I suppose, of this horror cow. You know, the Nancy stuff, the constant going on about dead kids on his content, like the focus of his content. Like, listen, true crime, bear this in mind, true crime can cover a multitude of topics. Bear this in mind as well when you're looking at the other channels out there on the internet that are true crime. Like, crime can be everything from fraud to embezzlement. Like, you know, there's some really graphic, horrible, violent crimes. We'll get to those in a minute, but like, there are some also like some really important social justice crimes. You know, at the moment they're criminalising protesters. Like, crime is a multi-layered, nuanced thing, yeah. And a lot of the crime channels, let's get to that, they just focus on the most violent crimes. Someone's had their head bashed in, some woman's missing, presumed bad things, like things that focus on children. And the reason they do that is because it's the most visceral, most primal reaction, get you angry, you know, its views and its numbers, and it's like, and some of them, instead of looking at a broad topic of crimes, and like, I want to shout out some of the good ones that are out there, but I don't want to say any names because, and you know, I end up giving them the hedgehog curse, but there are some good ones out there. But you know, in the main, there is this whole genre or like scumbucket in YouTube of people who really focus on the most violent, horrible crimes. And there are some big channels out there that I think are respectfully quite good at doing this and still focus on the violent, horrible crimes. But because that's their, you know, I'm talking about millions of views channels that do it properly, yeah. But there are some that just literally will wring the squeeze the blood out of the T-rag for these violent crimes. And these are children and young people that have been murdered. I mean, we're talking about people who will not stop talking about the Idaho case, or will not stop talking about Chris Watts like Alan, or will not stop talking about, like, you know, I saw a channel the other day that was playing all of, again, just like, fair enough, they can do it, I suppose, but they were playing all of the Chris Watts, like, footage of the kids and Shanann and all that, like, and, you know, it's 2024, there was no sense of, like, they're using it in their own way for their content, and like this sense of sentiment, oh, they love the poor children, like, you know, and all that, like, fair enough, but like, you know, you're still using it, like, a sense of detachment from the true sentiment, I feel. And so, yeah, there's these channels that will not stop going on about kids and victims in this way, and this is not true crime. Like, that's not the truth of crime. It's not. That's the truth of a very small part, or quite a big part, or whatever, of crime. And there's a more broad, a more interesting conversation to have about crime, but they're not interested in that because they're not really crime channels. They're dead kids and women murder channels, aren't they? And there's a reason for that. The money grift, the primal urge. There's a reason for that, you know. Yeah, I want to get on my rant like this, I lose my topic a little bit.
And the guy that represents him is a social media lawyer.
Oh, that was it. We're talking about still going on about the Rusicks and whether we should be suing the Rusicks. I think.
Because his sister was murdered, but he
called
me Vinnicombe.
I was talking about this lack of sentiment and this, like, you know, this true crime. Like, of course, Alan refers to Shanann, the murder victim, who he has made so much money off over these years, built his platform from, shit as it is now, ragged life raft as it is now, but still that sense of connection to the victim is simply not there. And the current living human victims, the family, you know, that are living through this trauma every day of their lives, it's still not there for Alan.
Sorts, right? Is that not public figures inciting hatred? That's not hatred been incited on me.
Yeah, listen, I'll shout this out as well. The Nicola Bulley stuff, it got to me. I felt like that connection with the victim at times. At times, I don't know, I felt something different, but I don't know Nicola, never have done, so I can live my life without feeling the same grief that people close to her would feel. Shout out the Jay Slater case as well. At the moment, I see his dad basically losing his mind on social media, and it's now a topic to be covered as well, apparently. I think people should be really careful about that. I think he's losing his mind on social media because of what's happened on social media. We should probably have a big talk about it at some point soon. But the Jay Slater case is another one where, through social media, they ensured that he died as a criminal with his name tarnished. All questions about him and his family. Was that the best use of everyone's time and, investigative powers? I don't know. But my opinion on it is it was a tragedy and an accident. Some things require heavy investigation, and of course you've got the police that can do that. And maybe we should have some different system of liaison between the police and the YouTubers. Excuse me, and the people that seek to share information and in good time impart the truth. But this detachment from the idea that it's human tragedy. I guess you've got to accept that I was making piss-taking jokes about work meetings and stuff, but ultimately as well, I did feel that human tragedy with Nicola, and I'm not here to cover everyone's murder case. That's not my channel. It never has been. Even on talking to Super Chuffy, it's more about psychology than it is about constant sad. And there are ways of doing those channels in a responsible way. You know what I'm saying? You could focus on tragic murders, but in a responsible way. But yeah. Anyway, enough of my soapbox rant. I mean, this is turning into a bit of that, isn't it? Because look at the subject content. But
to an extreme level, where I've had to come.
The man just made this horrific, I want to call it a gaffe, but this. The man just said this, so.
I'm more or less a hermit. That's what they've done to me. And the person that did it is a public figure. Well, fair enough. He's only a public figure because his sister was murdered.
But you're the victim, Alan. You're the victim. Always tell yourself that.
But he calls me Vinnicombe. He perpetrated gangs of people to come after me online. And I'm thinking, I'm the one being taken to court. Should it not be the other way around, honestly? And the guy that represents him is a social media lawyer who professed.
Cohen Davis seemed really good. Let's just say I can say through experience now that Cohen Davis I think are very good.
Is to protect people's from online trolls. So the person that's taken me to court has called me Vinnicombe and tried to get me to.
They're going to fucking nail Alan to the wall.
Taken off of everywhere. And the lawyer he's got purports to be stopping people from trolling people online. I'm not making it up. That's the facts.
He was posting exactly the same phraseology and had whipped his mind into a place where presumably he felt the only answer to save America.
Big ups, Kaz. People are telling Paul he's just wanting money now, are they? I promised tonight's episode we'd get to Paul Arnott, but I thought I was going to skip all this, but actually it's provided this goldmine of interesting content. We've gone from comedy into something a bit more serious, but it's not horrible and dark serious like the immigration stuff, which is just a repeated, you can only roll around in that shit so long, you know what I mean? I'm not going to turn up at right-wing racist rallies and argue with them in the street about their opinions, am I? So it's not really good for my show, but this is actually, I find, quite interesting. To be honest, it's like a different sort of vibe, but we've gone late. It's past midnight now. It's always midnight, and maybe this is one of those episodes that's going to go so long people might have to come back to and watch the second half. But I appreciate anyone who's going to stick with it because I want to. So we're going to do what I want.
And democracy from inevitable extinction was to get rid of the person who would perpetrate that, and that's Trump. I mean, is there a correlation here?
Trump.
I want to know the answer. Is there a correlation? And then they're talking about Trump. I want you to think about me. You're my son.
They're talking about Trump. I want you to think about me. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think about me? I want to talk about me. Yeah, we want to watch Pombear's. Yeah, Paul. He's got problems in India because his hotel room was mouldy. But I've got to get through this. You know, we might have to save Paul Arnott for Nutterwatch on Friday. It's coming up, yeah. And his videos are very short, so maybe you want a little quick Paul Arnott break.
No, this sounds
listen. Maybe you want a quick Paul Arnott break, but Alan's going to go on a wobble about himself. But you know, we'll invest some time in a quick Paul Arnott TikTok because he probably will delete these before he gets to. He says he's lost his passport. He's had the worst day. Well, there's not that much. But he said food review, Mad Mornings, I caught fleas, we saw that. But I saw one where he was in his hotel room and it looked fucking mouldy. Yeah, so basically, look, sorry, you can't see it properly. This one says here, tired of this. I mean, we know now that he records things and then he has them all on his hard drive and then he makes content and he uploads it. And it might not all be in the right order. Do you know what I mean? Like, this might not be exactly what the real life is like. Let's just say that. It might not be because it's social media. That's a fair comment. But I saw these ones. I haven't watched them yet. But immediately I noticed that the roof looks mouldy. Like, and you shouldn't be staying in this room. And he's been staying in there for a while, hasn't he? He's been in there for 5 days while he's felt sick and all sorts, I thought. Or I don't know exactly. You know, he's gone hospital. Like, but he's in this room. Let's try this. He's back. You know, he's eating his food. Remember we left him there feeling poorly. He'd been to the pharmacy. Well, he's doing that in this hotel room. And the room's fucking minging. Like, it's got mould, black mould, so you'll be breathing that in and you shouldn't stay there. That will make you sick. So let's have a look.
So it's 9:30 in the evening.
I can't see him because of the fucking way Twitter works. Hang on. Have I got a second one of those? Yeah, good. Edit, transform, reset the transform. Edit, let's get Paul Arnott up big. As big as he gets. Look at the mould on the fucking ceiling, look. This is a problem in properties in the UK still. You know, there's still children in the UK that die from this in poverty, which is shambolic and absolutely a disgrace, isn't it? But black mould, look, black mould. Like, you should not be in that room, yeah? Like, hanging out with the black mould.
Guys, I've just woke up. I've ordered dinner. Let me know what you think.
Look at it.
So there's two
we're in the room now. We're going to eat our dinner in it. We're not always seeing the ceiling, but you could see all that, yeah?
parts to this order, guys. The first bit's the food, and then I ordered from somewhere else to get some drinks. So this first part, the food.
This is Indian Adventure. We're in Mumbai, weren't we? Or reasonably around that area. I can't remember exactly where he is now. He might be on that island somewhere. Can't remember exactly. He's not really geolocating himself, is he? But we're in India. It's a big place, very popular, populated. And it's India, isn't it? So I wonder what interesting Indian food we're going to get. What do you think he's ordered? You know, something local, something traditional. He's been up for the street food, hasn't he? Is it going to be a chicken burger?
This costs about £7, so let's see what we've got. In here we have, I have no idea, Italian. I had to go for Italian.
Italian.
As you guys know, I spent quite a lot of time growing up in Italy, so let's test this food. I'll tell you if it's like Italian food or not.
I spent quite a lot of time growing up in Italy, apparently.
If I can open it. Oh my goodness, it's like a Christmas present. There we go, right, let's have a little look. Oh, it came with a spoon as well, fantastic. So I believe I know what this is. Yeah, macaroni cheese, let's have a quick taste. Let's have a quick taste of the macaroni cheese, see what it's like.
It's going to taste like fucking shabby macaroni cheese in India from a takeaway. He's going to give it like, 5 out of 10. Not the best macaroni cheese he's ever tasted, sort of thing. He'll be finicky about it.
Yeah, that's okay. I've definitely had worse. It's quite tasty. It's just the cheese has got a lot of flavour. Like I don't know what cheese that is, but that's so strong. What is in this box? What is in this box? Oh, garlic bread. Nice.
I mean, the lad's a toss piece, isn't he, really?
Let's test the garlic bread. Very similar to what we get in the UK, just like...
I mean, he has been poorly, I suppose, so he doesn't want to test his tummy too much, does he? But he's gone for garlic bread on the takeaway DoorDash in part of his Indian adventure.
French baguette.
If he's losing loads of weight, not looking healthy. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, also, fuck him. Mountaineering expert. on This Morning television talking to Isla Trakur about his search for Jay Slater. While Jay Slater's mother's crying and worried and taking gift packages, or saying he was, of like, you know, they're helping him out, and throwing a tantrum when he was up on, you know, when everyone went on that mountain that day to look for Jay Slater and all put their hat in the ring and said, you tell us what to do, send us out, we'll help look. Threw a tantrum, didn't he?
Like garlic butter on the top and that is so good, that is so good. And then
it's the garlic bread.
And instead of ordering a big pizza, I thought these would be quite small, so I ordered 2 of these. They are the same, and these are called the giant pizza slices, and they are a lot bigger than I thought. So let's check this bad boy. Oh wow, that is huge.
Packaging, but that's fine.
That is huge. Fair play. That is like
an individual pizza slice. You ordered 2 individual pizza slices instead of just like a small pizza. So it's just the same thing, it's just shaped differently, and you've got an extra box.
Size of my head almost. So we've got 2 of these. Salty and crunchy. So that's the food. Now time for the drink. So this part to the meal cost me about £8. Let's see what
you paid more for the drinks than the meal.
And yes, I know it's not healthy. I couldn't care less. I need some sugar. I'm not going to drink it all at once.
Do you need lots of sugar?
This will keep me going throughout the night, so I'll be awake all night. So what have we got in here? Iced coffee. Very, very nice. What have we got in? Okay,
it's from McDonald's. It's from McDonald's. Do not tell me that he's got 2 slices of pizza and a fucking macaroni cheese, and then as a separate order from McDonald's he's ordered drinks, but he's not ordered any McDonald's food and a chicken burger. Get real. Of course he's ordered chicken burgers from McDonald's. Come on, how is he not? Why would you not? Maybe he's not, but it seems weird, doesn't it, to order McDonald's drinks separately to, but maybe he just doesn't fancy a McChicken burger tonight.
This is like a fruit smoothie kind of thing. Very nice. Then here we have got Coca-Cola.
Not very nice, they're McDonald's drinks.
Very nice. And this Coca-Cola. Very nice.
Like the plastic waste on the, like, it's not very ecological, but I suppose you can't argue. You're in India, you're feeling poorly, just fuck it, plastic waste. But you've ordered several Coca-Colas from McDonald's.
So
and like, he's showing off about it on TikTok like it's a good thing.
To be fair, the Coca-Cola is very watered down out here. So we've got a few drinks from there.
If it's not using that local water, you might get poorly again.
What else did we? What's in here? I actually can't remember. Oh, yay, warm fruit juice. What is it? Mixed fruit juice. And they're both so warm. Made with juice, puree and pulp. Delicious. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. The Pom Bears. They've got the Pom Bears. This is like a drinks hall. There's just one of him sat on his own in his thing in India. Or is he having friends round? Is he possibly having...
And ice cream as well. I'm not going to open it just yet. Actually, yeah, I am, so I need to show you guys. This is just like chocolate fudge ice cream, which is like, how can I do it without tipping everywhere? It's like, oh, sugar. Okay. And that's going to get sticky and will attract ants, so I need to clean that up now. And they've also sent me a free spicy burger, which I will not
spicy burger
eat, so we'll go. I can't even give this to the animals because it's spicy. I'll see if one of the boys at reception wants it. But that's my meal, guys.
He said, I'll see if one of the boys at reception wants it, he said. I'll see if one of the boys at reception want it. So maybe you can attract one of the boys from reception to come to your room, clear up that little creamy spill, and eat the spicy burger, and they can have one of your fruit drinks. That's a good idea, isn't it? He's going to see if one of the boys from reception wants his spicy burger.
Bit up this absolute...
Luke and Paul Arnott, Peter Sutcliffe, Isla Trakur, Alan, Vinnicombe,
mess.
Chris Watts, Peter Sutcliffe.
And I'll see you guys soon. Big love.
Big love from your fucking horrible, mouldy hotel room. with your drinks. I mean, does that not look like the scabbiest? Could you imagine, right? Could you imagine Paul Arnott, TikTok superstar, and you're out there, he's in India, he's living the life, and he's invited you out. So you turn up. Oh, you got your own Airbnb? Yeah, come on up. I've just ordered us some drinks. That sounds nice. Yeah, come up. I've ordered some drinks. We've got a little balcony. He's shown us the balcony before. You enter and you see the black mould on all the surfaces and you think this is a problem. Yeah? And then he's like, yeah, here, you can choose between a what did you have? A McJuicy and a Coca-Cola from McDonald's. Choose between them. And if you want, I've got a big slice of pizza. And I'll be like, I'm not staying here. Like, I'm not staying here. The McMold date. Like, don't worry, one of the little boys from reception, sorry, not little. One of the boys from reception is coming up. They've got dibs on the spicy burger. We're going to go threes on a spicy burger. Look, what a life he's living out in. This one's called Tired of This.
You know what, guys? I am sick and tired of giving my clothes to the hotels to go wash for me, only for my clothes to come back smelling even worse than they did before.
Oh, I'm sick of giving my clothes to those Indians and they can't wash my clothes properly. Do you know there's a fix for that? Do you know what the fix for that is?
Or for there to be rips in my clothes. And my final straw was the other day when I gave some of my clothes for someone to wash, and it came back with a cigarette hole in it. So I've got some conditioner here, probably
Rinsing them in conditioner? You know, detergent is probably one of the most easy to come by, simple. You want to use soap. Conditioner's not going to clean your clothes.
not the same sort of conditioner that you use at home to wash your clothes in, but it's got the same name. So let's see if this works. Water is on, perfect.
What do you mean you wash your clothes in conditioner at home? You don't wash your clothes in conditioner. You wash your clothes with detergent and then use fabric softeners and conditioners to make them soft like mommy likes it, so it's soft on your face. Like if you're Paul Arnott. But if you're also Paul Arnott, you're going to stand in the shower and pour a load of conditioner on your clothes in the shower, and then you're going to wear them the next day. All skanky like.
How does this come up?
Oh, that just looks like a load of cum all over your clothes. Like this is the third time now we've done it. Check back in the Nutterwatches. We had the one where he said there's all this fluid outside on my balcony, and it looks like a load of it looked like someone had done a load of cum all over the plants. And there was another one he did, didn't there, where he's talking about stuff that like, and now we've got this, which is like a sort of like, sometimes I wonder if he's like doing it as a signal. Do you know what I mean? Like, here I am naked in the shower, squirting all this conditioner all up my clothes. Like, it is some sort of code that we're supposed to know about, but I don't know about it because I'm not some fucking.
Okay. Do you reckon that's enough? Or a bit more?
Yeah, I think that's more than enough for whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Like, bearing in mind, he's in India. He's like, these are only short burst TikToks, so we don't see a lot of what he's doing. You do not see what he's doing day in, day out. You've got no idea. Maybe he's filming it all, maybe he's not. You don't see it. But what he does film like this, like, it's not what you should normally be doing if you're out on your holidays in India. At no point should you have your clothes in a pile in the shower and be squitting all the conditioner you can find into it. Well, you should be out having a nice time, having a curry, talking to some people. Or chilling on your veranda, you know, smoking and talking to your chat. But not squirting conditioner on your clothes piled on the floor. Are you naked when you're doing this?
I don't know, okay.
No, it looks like it's all of his clothes. I can see the green ones in there. I'm worried that he might be filming this naked. Is the boy from reception finished with his spicy burger yet?
Let's mix this all together. Traditional hand washing going on here, guys. Absolute madness. The things your boy has to go through. So to all the lovely ladies who are wondering, is the boy house trained? The answer is yes, guys.
No, if you're a lovely lady and you were considering this as house training, please consider that I know how to take the clothes, put them in the wash basket when I've taken them off. First of all, I put them, to be honest, I put a lot of them in the bath. No one uses the bath, so I just put them in the bath. That's my wash basket. But let's be fair, I'm trying, yeah. Right, I know how to gather them up, put them in the washing machine. I know how to put the powder in the washing machine. Choose 40 degrees. I can press the button. It's not even hard. And then at the end of it, you can get that out and you can either put it in the dryer. We don't think we do that. We just hang them up. But, I know how to do that as well. It's like a real simple process. And I have done it multiple times in my life and will continue to. How on earth can you consider this to be a pro if you're a lady? If we go on holiday together, don't worry, I'll take you out, I'll wine you and dine you, and later on I'll put all your clothes on the floor in the bathroom and squirt your conditioner on them so that they're clean for tomorrow.
Look at this, done myself proud. I even hang my clothes up. Look at that, look at that.
Yeah, that's not the ideal hanging surface, is it? Because it's so wide and flat. But you've tried, and they're soaking wet. Look at all the water dripping off. You haven't wrung them out. You fucking idiot.
Very neatly. This is what happened to my boxes.
They might dry quickly in India, though.
Last time I gave them to someone. Look,
let's have a good look through his boxes. That's got bleach on it, look.
This red stuff.
It's bleach.
Looks like I've been bleeding. And I
hope, to be honest, Paul, I hope that they've been inadvertently bleached. But do you know what? You're in the fucking India, third world country, and you're complaining that the irony is your clothes are made in a sweatshop. And you can probably buy them cheap around the corner anyway.
I haven't. Absolute madness. Anyway, catch up with you guys soon. Oh, more black mould.
More black mould. He spotted it above his head.
You know what, guys?
He said at the end of this one, more black mould, and there's fucking loads of it. So I just wanted to show the black mould one, the mouldy hotel room that he's going to complain about, because I think those ones might be liable to be deleted. And then we'll go back to Alan, because it's supposed to be the Alan show, but I did promise some of this, so... One more. Once more into the breach, dear friends.
So it's not even 12 o'clock in the afternoon here in India yet, guys, and I've already had the maddest morning of my life. The place I was staying in yesterday, I woke up this morning at 7 o'clock and the guys were spraying water at my windows. And I went out to see what was happening, and they're like, you need to go.
It's all mouldy up there right now.
Guys, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. What's happening? And yeah, just a complete nightmare. I don't even understand what's happened there. So I was like, I need to go to a hotel. So they pointed to me one round the...
Wait. Some men were squirting water at his windows and shouting at him, and he decided to leave and go to a hotel, promising us that it's them that is alerting him to the danger that he needs to leave, and he don't know what the danger is. This sounds weird, doesn't it? That he's been chased out of his accommodation by a group of angry people. That sounds weird. I assume they're angry to be spraying water at his window. Or is this the emergency measures to get him out of a dangerous situation? They're squirting water at his window and saying, you need to go.
Corner. It's literally a 2-minute walk. And I went to the hotel. They took my money happily. And then I walked up the road, came back down.
Take my money!
And they're like, bro, you have to go. And I'm thinking, what? You've just taken my money. The second place is telling me to go. I've only just put my bag in the room and I've walked 2 minutes down
this is strange.
The road. And I was just like, what is going on? And the guy was like, I'm so sorry, but we've double booked a room. So I was just like, what a night.
Sounds like they're making an excuse so that you don't stay, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I've ended up in this place. How
is this different from the place you were in before? Because it's all got the mould on. The previous TikToks are from before.
What's on the ceiling? I just saw it in the camera, guys, but let me show you.
Loads of black mould. We've just been looking at the property with black mould.
Where I'm staying right now, so I'm only going to be in here for one night. I was really hoping to go to the airport and fly out.
The way he shows you around, okay, this could be a different property, or it could be the same property but different rooms.
Today, but I just have not been organised enough. So this is the type of room that costs about normally 15 quid.
And we're getting another room tour.
And sometimes 20 quid to be fair. I think to be fair, I did pay about 20 quid for this one, guys. It was advertised at 11 or 12 quid. Somehow I paid more, which is kind of all...
So he's getting ripped off? He's getting bullied out of his rooms, moved around, and then ripped off. This doesn't sound right.
This seems to happen here in India. Pay the tourist price. But yeah, anyway, this is my room. Sofa, chairs, fridge, which is really...
Tourist price, and he's complaining it's £20 a night.
Nice. I've just stuck my bag in here. Big double bed. Nice mirror, wardrobe. I just want to come back here and actually just check this out.
He quite often highlights the mirrors. When I've noticed now, it's not the first time he's seen a mirror and said nice mirror and given himself a wave. Like he likes there to be a nice mirror.
What is this?
What is that? That's black mould. You shouldn't be staying here. You had it in the previous place.
Well, That's like black mold. You cannot inhale that stuff.
And you've got a fan on next to it, pumping away.
Let's get it. Let me show you the bathroom, guys. I haven't actually seen the bathroom myself, so let's see.
When you say let's get out of here, are you not staying here then?
Okay, this is... Oh my goodness, this is actually nice. This is the best part of the...
Looks like a sex dungeon from Jersey.
room. Where's the light there? Do we have a light? I don't know. But yeah, toilet, bath.
Like, that doesn't... I don't know if it's just me or... Like, that doesn't look nice. It looks grotty to me, but...
Definitely will not be using the bath. I've got a massive phobia of getting in other people's baths. I don't know if anyone else is like this. It's the same with shower curtains. There isn't a shower curtain in here, but I cannot touch it. Those things are just full of germs.
Doesn't like any proper food. Doesn't like anything that's not a chicken burger. He's now phobic of shower curtains.
There's a door here. Where does this take us? Oh wow, we've got a little balcony. This is quite cool. Very compact.
What can we look over? What are we looking out to?
Nice clean roof over there. That's what I like to see. But yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I've definitely stayed in worse places. There's another door out here. What is this for? Is this another...
He likes the doors as well, doesn't he? He's interested in the doors.
Balcony, or... Will it take me to the next person's room? Oh no, it's another balcony. Cool. Hey, another clean roof. I love it. And that's my view. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go have a shower and get settled in. I also need to try find some breakfast. I just want
You're not getting settled in. It's black mold. You're supposed to be leaving.
eggs on toast. I really want some eggs on toast. There's a
You
mosquito.
want some eggs on toast.
But yeah, I'll catch up with you guys soon. Big love.
Okay, big love. So that's what I was interested in, is the black mold like trilogy of videos. But strangely, black mold is in these videos in his hotel room here. Then he goes catching a ferry, fixing a broken bag, eating street food. Then we get Mouldy Hotel Room, which we just watched. And then there's a couple more. He lost his passport, had the worst day ever. But apparently he didn't have a visa and he had to get jabs, and then he didn't get the jabs and all that. So I don't know about the loss of the passport, but he's back to eating street food. I'm not watching any of this now, though. Save it for Nutterwatch. Let's go back to Alan. We took a little thought break there for a minute, but I do want to cover this, and it is kind of interesting, although I can feel in my bones that right now, what are we up to? Oh, we've only been going an hour. No, 2 hours 50. 2 hours 50. Yeah, we're coming up to 3 hours, so it might be normal to finish the show, but we're halfway through this, so this show might go 5 hours. I mean, I don't want to go 5 hours necessarily. I don't think we're going to the 3 o'clock in the morning stages, but let's push a little more and let's see what we get out of it, because I'm not done yet with this, and it's probably better to keep it all in one episode, and you can come back to it if you feel like going nonites and coming back.
Genius. It's a correlation between public figures and a bunch of truthers trying to destroy.
Just quickly in chat, shouts out you in chat, you chuffers. I won't do a poll, I can't be asked. Just tell me, is that black mold, am I right in saying this, that black mold is unacceptable and is dangerous and you shouldn't stay there? Would you, just tell me in chat, I would stay there or I would not stay there? For the Paul Arnott stuff, because I think it's a health risk, isn't it? And you shouldn't stay there. But he was definitely getting settled in. So, there is an argument. People seem to think that he's trying to get himself sick enough to come home. He's not had his jabs. You tell me. Well, you don't have to tell me. You can do what you want.
My life. And doxing me and telling people I'm a P. Is there a correlation between that?
You would not stay. Okay, yeah. No, I'm not. I don't want to be like a finicky ninny myself. And if it's just one night and it's just a bit of mold, but it is dangerous, isn't it? It's like health risk dangerous, isn't it? He probably didn't know until someone told him. You can see it though, can't you? Oh, you mean he didn't know what it is, and he was just staying in that room for a week? Because the other one had it in for, he was there for a week with the other room. He probably has another room somewhere else. That's interesting, isn't it? Maybe, I said this as a joke back with the Alan Malta days. We looked at some Airbnbs in Malta, and there was one really shabby one, and it had no doors and no electricity, and it was just really cheap. It was like concrete beds on a floor or something. And I said, what we should do is get two. We should get the really shit one and get the good one, and then pretend we stayed in the shit one and video it, Oh, obviously I'm not going to go to Malta and pretend to stay in a shit Airbnb, like really, but maybe he's doing that, you know, maybe he's just hiring funny rooms and just like videoing them, you know, straight back to reception to get another room. Especially, yeah, it was a hotel, wasn't it? That's weird if it's a hotel, that you should just like accept it. And then the other thing that I found really weird that I just, before we get back to Alan, is they were chasing him out. They were who was it? Like, the hotel's not squirting at your window, are they? They're knocking on your door. Why are they squirting water on your window? Well, that doesn't make any sense. That's really strange. Okay, back to Alan getting stalked on the internet then.
Was to get rid of the person who would perpetrate that, and that's Trump. I mean, is there a correlation here?
I want to know the answer. Is there a correlation? And then they're talking about Trump. I want you to think about me. You're my supporters.
Sorry, I'm glad I rewound that. They're talking about Trump. I want you to think about me. Narcissism unbound.
Person who would perpetrate that, and that's Trump. I mean, is there a correlation here?
I want to know the answer. Is there a correlation? And then they're talking about Trump. I want you to think about me. You're my supporters. Now, this man's a genius. Is there a correlation between public figures and a bunch of truthers trying to destroy my life?
No.
And doxing me and telling people I'm a P? Is there a correlation between that and real life psychopath coming to get me?
No.
Well, there's an old saying, Pierce, that's accurate psychologically, that when the working class or when the aristocracy catches a cold,
The closest thing you get is like the baby reindeer effect, isn't it? Of people getting parasocial on your ass and thinking they love you. But you encourage that, Alan, don't you? You know? The parasocial thing of people putting you on a pedestal and thinking they love you, you know? And then you kind of encourage that. Like, you play on it and take their money. Like he does the romance scamming on them, doesn't he? Emailing them, behind the scenes, phone numbers, like all that stuff that's a bit extra if you're a content creator.
class dies of pneumonia. And so one of the ways of thinking about that more generally is that if things start to become unstable, let's say with regards to combative terminology at the pinnacle of the social hierarchy, that echoes down the rungs of the hierarchy to people who are already pretty damn unstable. And it doesn't take much to tilt them over the edge. You know, when this trend...
Yeah, what he's talking about there, though, like what Jordan Peterson's talking about, isn't that the mechanism of propaganda mobilizing the, like, you know, isn't that what's happened with the riots? Like, that's exactly what's happened with the right wing. They're all responsible for that stuff. Like, your rhetoric, like Donald Trump had those people marching on the Capitol. Like, you want to be careful with this because you're supposed to be promoting Trump, remember?
Trans issue arose in Canada in 2016 when the government of Canada made it their business to compel the speech.
Exclusivity and privacy in a world of choice.
There's an advert.
The way you present yourself at fringe.
Bottom, they have psychological problems that could lead to them actually killing me if they wanted to.
Save the planet. It's like you punish the people who are barely clinging to the edge of the world most dramatically. Like the other thing really on Twitter and X, because motions
that they haven't verified, they're complete lies, like a P or I.
Between mouth and publication.
Okay, so what he's saying is that your mouth becomes a publication. So the trolls will say things about me that they haven't verified, they're complete lies, like a P.
It's subjective, Alan, in common parlance. Like the phrase, like, you know, hang on, the dog barked just a second, I need to go and check that. But like to call someone a pedo or a nonce, you know, to have an interest in children that way, it could be a transactional interest. Like I said, people could just be selling the pictures, but it's not up for me to get inside your head. If you're doing the noncy shit and you're on Smule, we've been through this.
Or I try to procure children on a singing app or whatever the crap they come out with, a black bed. From their mouth it comes and it's published to whoever's in their chat, and then whoever are friends of those who are in chat, and before you know it, I'm a monster. They have no idea what their unthought out words.
Alan, you've been a monster all your life, and the things that we find out about you are monstrous. That's all it is.
Can do to a person. If it was done to them, they'd understand it. And I wish they could walk in my shoes, because they'd be scared stiff.
So,
Oosh, I'm not going to walk in your shoes because I've not been singing with kids on Smule, Alan.
You know, we're still in the early phases of determining how to regulate our behavior online. Now, have the Democrats been particularly egregious in that regard? Well, there's been 2 assassination attempts on Trump. And so you could draw whatever conclusion from that you think is meet. It's obviously a terrible thing. And the problem too is there's another problem, which is that copycat crimes are very, very, very common.
Yeah.
And it's partly because the pathological types, they keep an eye on each other. You know,
the pathological type keep an eye on each other. So if one person makes up a story about me, the other one goes, yeah, I'm going to phone the police and see if I can call him that in public. Oh, yeah, I can call him that in public. Wow. And they feed off each other. Pathological, they're psychopaths.
well, for example, on the school shooter side, there's a school shooter subculture. Make no mistake about it. And the people who are fantasizing for the thousands of hours that are never.
Oosh, pathological is not necessarily psychopathic, but Alan, don't you find that you keep an eye on the pathological? Like, don't you think that you keep an eye on the psychopathic? Because you love all those murderers. Like, it's not, Alan doesn't just love true crime. Like, he talks about, well, we're going to do some crime. We're going to do some crime later. Like, Alan loves the crime aspect. He loves the villainy. He loves the evil. Like, he's not watching it for a sense of justice. So he keeps an eye on those people and he imitates them, doesn't he? He's very much an imitator. He very much is an imitator. He imitated the people he thought were good on YouTube, like Richard D. Hall, and tried to style himself as this armchair detective. But also he imitates the criminals because I believe he pushes people in fucking canals. Do you know what I mean? Like, he imitates those most violent, evil things he sees. Here he is doing it here. Like Pound Shop Hitler, look, with his crappy tash. Imitating these people who he thinks are clever.
Necessary to fantasize before you transform yourself into a school shooter. They're perfectly aware of their peers and those who they are competing with and the best way to gain maximum.
See, the ones that hate me the most, just like he said, will form private groups on whatever it happens to be, WhatsApp, right? And have a WhatsApp group.
Okay, yeah, I don't have a WhatsApp group. I used to have a mods group in my Discord, for mods to be mods, to have a private group, but I don't have me, the way I go about this. I don't have any sort of I just put these things on the internet and talk about them, Alan. Like I understand you're talking about other people out there that have got their Facebook groups, the no hate groups, and you've got your Facebook groups and your private group of spanners, haven't you, Alan? And yeah, welcome to the internet.
Me, where they fantasize about getting rid of me.
But it is a bit weird to have private, the reason some people use things like WhatsApp or whatever is they think they can get away in terms of it won't be accountable. They don't realise that it's going to be logged in servers and people will be screenshotting it. I suppose live by the sword, die by the sword a bit there, Alan, isn't it?
Thousands of hours, and they talk about me.
I agree. I think it's a little bit extra. That is, I couldn't be arsed with that.
A private chat, like on StreamYard, 10 of them for 10 hours about me. They don't even know me. They're psychological misfits.
Well, public attention. So, and that's also amplified, let's say, in its pathology.
But then that's something he's invented in his own mind because he's not party to those conversations.
By this interconnectedness. It's like one of the things we don't know, for example, Pierce, is we don't know, well, when you link everyone together, we're trying to educate people at the moment en masse with this Peterson Academy that we launched. And
oh my God, education en masse with the Peterson Academy. Don't go near it. Does it cost money? Does it, Jordan?
It's a wonderful thing to be able to use the net because we can bring extremely high quality lecturers to the attention of an unlimited amount of people for very low cost. And so we're trying to facilitate the spread of the highest quality ideas. But, at the same time, the social media networks and the internet itself facilitate the transmission of the lowest quality ideas. And
I would argue that's what you're doing now.
Which of those are going to win out in the long run is a very difficult question. And that's the free speech question too. The more libertarian types, and certainly Elon Musk, believe that if you just put the...
Don't be stupid. The people with the most money are getting their ideas heard more. That's what's happening now.
The information in front of...
That's what your right-wing arseholes are doing. Alan's lost it again. Alan's gone again, hasn't he? So I'm not going to listen if Alan's not listening. Skip. Alan's gone again. I think he's reached his attention span with it. Oh, is he going to speak now? He's going to speak now.
A million. Currently off work.
We all know some trolls that pretend to be mentally ill so they can get benefits, don't we? You all know. I know a number of the trolls that never going to work because they perfect.
You don't get benefits for being mentally ill.
To be mentally ill. But actually they're living off benefits. And while they're living off benefits, they're making protracted hate videos against me. And they don't seem that crazy when they're saying things about me, right?
I assume he's not talking about me because I'm not living off any benefits. I don't receive anything. The end.
But that's by the way.
And the vast majority.
And I'm not on universal credit or anything, but there's no shame in being on that. When I was doing caring for my nan, I certainly was, but I'm not. So I assume he's just, I don't know exactly, sometimes I don't know who exactly he means, you know. But apparently there are some people out there that are mentally ill, living off benefits for being mentally ill, and they're making protracted videos about him.
Are off work being paid to stay at home because of various mental health related issues.
Right. This is going a bit weird. I mean, obviously Alan doesn't work. Lives off the state, you know.
Pronouncements
with his pension.
Of self-victimization to manipulate.
They do put themselves in moral virtue, don't they? You notice all my worst trolls, the very worst ones, are always saying how great they are, how virtuous they are. Oh, I'm a good man. Oh, I'm a good worker. Oh, I'm a good person in society. I'm just exposing all this stuff. They're the worst.
Because
they're
something like me
projecting.
there. Like, I don't really tend to go on about how good I am. I don't think. I think I state our position clearly. Against this evil, I stand. You know, I state that clearly. But it's easy, isn't it? You know, you go on about racism, I'll stand against it. Like, it's easy. It's not like being some super good person. I see that as a sort of standard thing that you should be doing. Like, you know, it's not like it's not special and hard to be good. It's like sort of the baseline. Like, you're falling well below it.
What they think and what they do onto poor innocent other YouTubers.
Manipulate and to
There's no projecting anything, Alan. You were singing with those kids. There's no projecting that. What about your agency for men, women, boys and girls? You know, there's no projecting that, is there? Haven't you got a litany of these things? Look at all your content. The things you said about the what you could call guilty knowledge of how paedophiles behave. Don't you remember describing a certain age range that you thought was useful to them and not useful to them for certain reasons? Didn't you have a convicted sex offender on your stream?
and to conspire. That's what they do. And they're very effective at it. You know, there's a couple of more psychopathic types that I thought about interviewing on my podcast. I won't name any names at the moment. But in the most famous case, I decided against it because I wasn't convinced that he would fail to charm me during the interview. You know, even though I have a fair bit of clinical experience and a pretty decent serpent's eye for the psychopathic types, I'm generally an agreeable person and I give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you're lovely, Jordan. We all like you.
I knew Robert Hare, so and the typical
as many sort of you could have hoodwinked me very straight me of what
comes that way. This is true. Now, our bully, for example, if you look at to beat their own.
I'm glad to be skipping through this.
And I'd also say it's a bit.
We won't go as long tonight now because there's so much this to skip through. Thank God.
Convenient.
President.
Well,
oh,
if you were
with a tremendous amount of skepticism.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I felt. Just talking of psychoanalyzing people, you've got.
Now, doesn't Alan just look like a really nasty old man trying to convince himself that he's in the right here by listening to two other nasty old men?
Two complete polar opposites now running for president of the United States.
And again, it's back to Trump. It's back to president of the United States. It's back to Trump again. Like, if you can't see this, like, you know, maybe you're into it. Maybe you think it's worth projecting the propaganda for the right wing. Like, Trump's just the head of the snake, isn't he? The Republican Party, you know, like well, it depends. I suppose American politics is wider than that. The current state of the Republican Party with Trump at its head, you know, like, but like, if that's what you're into and that's what you want to talk about, fair enough, I suppose. It would help if you're American because it's going to matter to you. The world does take interest. But why don't we just call it what it is? Like, why are we pretending that it's a conversation about online bullying when actually what it is a propaganda machine to try and get people to agree with Trump? Like, it's to win votes for Trump. Obviously, Alan can't vote for him, so this is like byproduct overspill. But Piers Morgan leading up to the American election campaign, Jordan Peterson leading up to the American election campaign, seem to have some sort of vested interest here, I would assume, because they keep talking about it.
Psychoanalyzing Trump and Kamala Harris. What would you conclude right now based on everything you've seen and heard?
Think about it, Mr. Pete.
Well, if I could vote in the American election, I would vote for Trump.
Good point. You can't vote. If I could, I'd vote for Trump. Good point. Lovely, well made. If I could, I'd vote for Trump. Thanks for making my point for me. Right, skip. Skip. There's quite a lot going on here that we're skipping. Alan's not saying anything, which is good. Here we
Trump
go.
accidentally became president, shocked the hell out of him. And then he got some sense of exactly how unstable and corrupt.
See, that's what I always thought. I thought, like, he's not really a politician, was he? When he was...
Yes, he was a politician. Many politicians aren't politicians until they become politicians. But yes, the instruments of his success, the charisma, charm, manipulation, and business deals are all politics as well, aren't they, behind the scenes? Messing about with money, shaking hands. Like, yes, he's a politician because he joined the fucking politics people and became the... Yes, he's a politician. He pretended he was going to be a sort of anti-politician, but in order to win votes, he did what was popular because he's a politician.
He was thrust into it. He was a TV star, wasn't he?
He wasn't thrust into it. He leveraged his position to get him into politics.
Entrepreneur and American reality show, and he suddenly thought, all right, I'll be
It wasn't sudden.
president, and he got the job, but he didn't know anything about it.
He didn't know anything about it. Well, it's lucky he had the full force of the Republican Party behind him then, isn't it? Because I think there were some people that did.
So he's the first person I know that was like a virgin in politics going in
Ronald Reagan was an actor.
there. It must have shocked him, all the corruption, all the backstabbing, everything that goes on in politics. It must have shocked the life out of him when he
Well, he didn't know any politicians before that.
knew what it was like to be a head of state, you know?
The DC swamp had become. And he started to take the role seriously. And now I think he's taking it even more seriously. And that's part of why he's built.
Now he's a career politician. He's been the president of the United States. Yeah.
What's he called? The Simpsons. Is it the same Springfield? Oh, no.
Some dogs and so on and so on.
Oh, lovely. We're going to do the cats and dogs now.
See, knowledge. I mean, she doesn't seem to know what she would do if she ran the country. She sort of played into his hands of allowing himself to be goaded and getting into a bit of a street fight and then saying crazy stuff about cats and dogs and so on and so on. Conversely, if you were looking at her, right.
About the cats and dogs that made Springfield famous, I thought Springfield was the, what's he called? The Simpsons. Is it the same Springfield? Oh, no, anyway. So this little town of Springfield
Springfield, Illinois is the one from The Simpsons. Little trivia fact.
became famous because it's had a massive influx of immigrants. And it seems like they've eaten some of the local geese out of the ponds. So it seems, but Trump went further and said they were eating the pets, the dogs and cats, the pets, and there was a
It wasn't just Trump, was it, Alan? You said it as well. You said it.
massive outroar in America that he shouldn't have said this because there's no proof of it, you know. And but the people that are there from Haiti, now I've been to Haiti, I've been to Cuba, and they do eat
Haiti, and you're saying it now?
how can I put this? What we would call pets, they call food. In certain countries, China, Haiti, they do eat certain animals that we wouldn't eat. I'll put it that way. So Trump had something there, but he should have had proof. If he had sheer proof, is what he needed, I think.
No.
Yeah.
How do you psychoanalyze Kamala Harris?
Okay, well, let's give the devil.
So what you're saying is what Alan said there was the stereotype that we could attach to them. Chinese people eat cats. And this is what he said in the previous thing, and that they probably do now because that's what they do. The stereotype we can attach to them that Chinese people eat cats, or that Haitians eat dogs, or whatever. Yeah, the Chinese people eat the dogs. The bad stereotype. It would have been good, and we could have used it politically if only we could have found some sort of proof or evidence that it was happening. So there's a problem there in a number of things, isn't there? Because there seems to be some sort of inherent political bias. Like when you go looking for evidence of some crime that doesn't exist, when you go hunting for evidence of a crime that doesn't exist because it suits your political bias, that might not be the best thing to do. And there was no evidence of it, but it would have been good if we'd found it. If you just rewind time a little bit, Alan would be wearing a Nazi uniform and gassing Jews. Yeah, that's his ideal situation here. Like, where does this lead? Should we just round up all the Muslims and all the Chinese and everyone and just gas them now? Should we just do that and then are we over? Are we done with? Can we stop talking politics and move on to something more fun again? He does drag this down with his terrible, terrible views. What is it? What has Alan become? He doesn't even understand the political theatre that's happening, and he's leveraging it for his own bitterness. Let me tell you about me and my trolls. Let me tell you about my court case. Sad, sad, sad. confused, sad, confused, useless, very, very pathetic. I mean, also, Alan's leaving a legacy for his grandchildren here. He's got grandchildren, and they're hopefully not going to grow up to be hateful, nasty people like him, are they? Like, surely his kids are not teaching them this shit, to hate people like this. So they're going to see these videos and think what a horrible man their grandfather was, if they grow up with some sense of social education, if they're lucky, you know?
Is due to begin with. One of the market things I have seen happening with the Democrats since this switch in leadership is their movement away from the radical left.
I don't care about it. Alan doesn't care about it. He's just using this to try and say something about him, isn't he? So we're not going to be interested in what the Democrats are really doing, are we, Alan?
Away with it will be a skillful bit of politics. Jordan, we're nearly out of time. I can always talk to you for a lot longer, you know that. I want to end with two.
I mean, I do care about what happens in America. I hope the Democrats win for, future of humanity, but I'm not going to sit here and argue the nuances because I don't understand them that deeply, and it's not really my place. I don't think so, really. I'll comment on the odd speech and stuff, but political grandstanding in this way, I think it's strange, isn't it, to have it? Imagine being American as well. I wonder why. Piers Morgan obviously broadcasts to America. He's obviously known in America, isn't he? So he's making content for Americans here, really. But it is interesting, isn't it, that I suppose maybe some sense of a British voice or a British academic might sell some ideas. But it's interesting, isn't it, that the American voters are going to be talked down to by two Brits. And that should sell them the concepts.
Quick things. One is a woman called Carol Vorderman, who's a British television personality, was doing a radio show, and this happened on her show.
To come back to women to
there is video of someone eating. I know what you're talking about there, though, Dover and Dolly's mum, but that was an isolated incident where someone was having a mental breakdown, yeah, and it wasn't something to do with a sort of social behaviour amongst immigrants. It was like somebody had attacked an animal on a driveway because they were having a mental break. That's quite an awful. Let's not go there today. That's enough of that. Now they're going to talk about graping and stuff. This is going to get worse.
This was a woman who used to be on a thing called Countdown. She's an intelligent woman, right?
It's Carol Vorderman.
But in later years, she's become a joke by wearing teenagers' clothes, making a figure she's had her breast implanted over and over. And she's just Botox. Lumps put in her cheeks.
Alan thinks if you've got Botox, you're making a laughing stock out of yourself with your plastic surgery, trying to make yourself look younger. Everyone knows it's mutton dressed as lamb. Everyone can see it. It makes you look awful. That's what Alan's saying here about Carol Vorderman. I paraphrased, but Carol Vorderman there. Alan's critiquing her looks and her plastic surgery choices. Alan Vinnicombe is critiquing Carol Vorderman's looks and her plastic surgery choices. Alan Vinnicombe, cosmetic dentistry, filters up the whammer, ham hands, pickle for a head, is telling us that Carol Vorderman has had too much plastic surgery and it makes her look stupid rather than pretty, and everyone can just see it. My skin might be smoother, but she looks like someone's grabbed the back of her head and swung around and then stapled it. Like a skull. You can see a skull protruding. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but... Good one, Alan. Way to be misogynistic. We've already set the tone for Alan's show. He said that women should be basically making babies at home. So Carol Vorderman doesn't suit type, does she? Because she's forging a career in the media and doing what the fuck she wants, so...
And this happened on her show.
Later years, she's become a joke by wearing teenagers' clothes, making a figure she's had her breast implanted over and over. And she's just Botox, lumps put in her cheeks, under her nose, and her mouth made bigger, her lips made bigger, and she's now no longer human, right? And she's
so a bit more than just a coloured contact lens. You can get all sorts done these days, can't you?
Making a name for herself as a cheerleader for Starmer, which I don't really like at all. I'm not a Starmer fan. And she's decided now that she's also able to cancel people.
aggressions in society. So Dr. Jordan Peterson, there's a YouTube.
So what happens here actually, and he's showing it without proper context, but someone's calling into the LBC and they're talking about quite a delicate subject, and I agree with Cara Vorderman here. She's running her show and people are calling in, and if you're going to speak with tired political rhetoric from someone like Jordan Peterson, she doesn't have to platform it. I mean, I've sort of used my show to platform it today because Alan's brought it to us. That's what I don't like about it, you know, the sort of platforming their voice. I've skipped through a lot of his crap, but I could be here to, you know, I could do a detailed analysis and breakdown of Jordan Peterson's arguments and analysis and all that. It's a political show then, isn't it? You know, it's a political analysis show, and it's using, like, they create the conversations, you end up talking about them. I've done it tonight, let's be fair, I've done it tonight, but then, you know, what we've talked about is trans things, this and that. It becomes on the agenda, and we shouldn't be allowing them to set the agenda in that way. Yeah, so I think that's beneath us, and I think what she does is a very good job here, which is simply to control her own media space. So
Really like it all. I'm not a Starmer fan, and she's decided now that she's also able to cancel people.
Aggressions in society. So Dr. Jordan Peterson, there's a YouTube video.
Oh, don't
about
quote
women's
it.
aggression.
No. You cannot quote Jordan Peterson on my show. I'm sorry. I mean, it's just that they're on... Flipping heck. No. I'm not having that, Neil.
Flipping heck.
That reminded me of your encounter with...
Flipping heck. He's quite happy with himself because his T-shirt says flipping heck. But I don't know why, because I've never heard Alan say it before. It's a northern phrase, isn't it? I thought Vorderman was fine there. I don't know why he brought her up then, just to get eggy about her not wanting to talk about Peterson on her show.
Kathy Newman is a good friend of mine. And I know Carol well, but when you went on Channel 4 News and Kathy
All right, Piers brought it up just to create some controversy on his show.
Newman just didn't really newborn.
What the reputational? I won't go out this. No, thinks it.
I want to.
There you go.
Briefly about
Okay,
the
so
Peterson Academy. I love the fact that
thank God for that. That's going to disappear now, and we don't have to listen to it ever again. Nobody should sign up to the Peterson Academy. What would you be doing, giving him money so that he can propagandize you into your brain for money? Like, that's stupid.
He's a dummy.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. Thanks. What a shit! Like, again, another really bad episode from Alan. But the credit that I will give him that's due is at the start he talked briefly about some things that have some connection to people and was like slightly better when he mentioned briefly his favourite sweet was a whizzer. That was a very small part of it. The bigger part, which is pretty much shit, is all this political nonsense leading into the American election cycle, essentially. Like, it's a waste of his time, waste of our time. It revealed some really bad character traits from Alan, like addicted to the misogyny and the patriarchy, like will not let it go, feels angry and aggrieved about it to this point. Yeah, really bad that is, his opinions and feelings about that. A disgraceful legacy, but something he's proud of. I do hope he moves away from that and continues to move towards something that's a bit more cheerful in his content. You know, if he expects to produce it in the future. He's not going to talk Kessinger anymore. He's decided that. No more true crime. So now we're on to fascism and not even closet right-wing, you know, opinions, but there's no point to that. So maybe we should try and keep moving, keep looking, keep searching. You might find your way, Alan. You might.
So Peterson.
Well, let's see his conclusion. Yeah, he's got a couple of minutes here to make a minute to make a conclusion.
Here's more.
But what he does like to do, it clearly isn't it, is just to play somebody else's content to fill the time.
Flipping heck, you said.
That's not what I do here. More of my content is me talking than him.
Flipping heck. I love that Armchair Detective. Oh, she doesn't cancel me. Bastard. Anyway, so thanks for listening to me that long. And
Alan, she didn't cancel anyone. She just wouldn't let them talk on her show. I've invited you on mine, and from what I understand about the YouTube rules, actually, is you could still come on as a guest.
Sort of resonated with me, some of the things he had to say there. So I don't agree with everything he says, but he certainly worked out the psychopaths that are online, for sure. And they are. Believe me, they're online. They'll be online tonight, telling their lies. Their narcissist lies, their cover-ups, their jealousy. One day there will be justice online. One day there's...
Do you know, like, there's no way I could have ever been or would ever be jealous of Alan. Like, that's clear, isn't it, yeah? But Alan is in a position of extreme jealousy now because we carry on YouTube. Things go well. People talk about Nicole Kessinger. His former mods and spanners are over on some other channel, bigging them up and, you know, having a chat on YouTube being spanners. He's in the doldrums, things are going really badly. He just watched one of his political icons describe TikTok as a sleaze pit full of fucking rats. And that's where he's trying to make his new name for himself, and that's not going well. So, yeah, I think he's pretty jealous himself, isn't he? Like, isn't he feeling pretty bitter? Isn't that what fuels this anger against young people and women?
Wild West that the online is will become more palatable. Thanks for joining me. I am the Armchair Detective. Tried early evening. I hope if you watch this tomorrow, leave me a note.
Alan, you're not a detective. I would stop branding yourself as such. You're not intending to do any more detectiving, are you? Detection. You're against immigrants. You're a misogynist. And really a mouthpiece for the right wing, of which you owe no allegiance and they will give you none.
Line. One day, the Wild West that the online is will become more palatable. Thanks for joining me. I am the Armchair Detective. Tried early evening. I hope if you watch this tomorrow, leave me a note underneath. It's nice to hear from you. And I'm glad you can see I'm still around and I've got my new look.
Do you know what's weird about Alan and his looks? Is with most people you'd be able to say, oh, he looks a bit like so-and-so. I can't think of anyone who he looks like. Ben Kenobi? Like, I can't think of anyone who he looks like, really. And most people, like, you know how Luke looks like Peter Sutcliffe? Like, you know, I can't think of anyone who he looks like. Who do I look like? Who do I look like in chat? Let's talk about me instead of this arse. Who do I look like? I tell you who I look like. I look like Kurt Cobain with my snazzy hoodies. Because Kurt Cobain, do you remember he had that jacket from the charity shop with the map of the world on? I look like Kurt Cobain with my snazzy hoodies. That's who I look like. The beard's going well. Everyone likes the beard. Or it's not. He needs to turn off the filters if he's going to show the beard in its true light. He shows it on TikTok. Or are you talking about my beard? He's copying me. Yeah, I'm still on. We went all the way. Are you getting off at this for, or are you going all the way with me?
My new look.
His new look. An old t-shirt from 5 years ago and not shaving is his new look.
Scary. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Scary.
To the Spanners for being here. See you again very soon. And yeah. No more cancel culture. No more cancel culture.
Good show. Well, a show. Downvote. And I shouldn't do that because it counts as engagement, but over here it doesn't matter, does it? He's got a couple of comments. Missed the live show, caught it later. Love the new look. It was good to see you again. Enjoyed the show, says Shay. Simon Osborne says, I have the same t-shirt. Flipping heck. Original merch. So they stuck with him. You should shave. Sorry, but it's not flattering, says Weber family. Morgan couldn't be more wrong in the first 5 minutes of this, says one of the comments. And I love seeing you squirm, says 381 Otter. Can't see that, can you? Hang on. No, it doesn't matter. It's behind my face anyway. It says, I love seeing you squirm. And there's a reply from Alan. Oh no, you should see this. You should see this. What's your real name? 38-1 Otter says, I love seeing you squirm. I don't know if he was squirming in the episode. If this person should watch me, because I make him squirm when he watches me. In fact, it would be wonderful to see Alan reacting to us. Oh, he did, didn't he, once? He had my stream on live while he was streaming. Other people have done that as well, haven't they? Squirmers. You squirmers. He loves seeing you squirm. It seems like something of fucking nonsense. Anyway, look. What's your real name? Asks Alan, without a question mark. And 38 Otter asks, why? You're the detective. Find out. Have you seen this cat? Alan's having trouble. in his comments. There was one favourable comment, Shay, who said she was happy, and Liz says they missed her. See, look, I told you they're not around. She missed her. She missed her. Sad for Liz. Liz is still trying. I mean, does Liz like this? She shouldn't be watching it. It's grown up thinking. It's men thinking. Liz, if you're watching, I'd love for you to come on the show and explain things and tell me all about it. You and, what's her name? The other one. I don't care. But bear in mind, Alan thinks that you should probably be at home squeezing out a baby or looking after a baby or something. Doing some cooking. You shouldn't be worrying your head with all this fucking grown-up thinking. And you know what? We've gone on 3.5 hours. It didn't go on 5 hours like I thought it might. Cool. So we could fit in a bit more of this.
You call them mealies, yeah, wow. Dumplings. Very tasty, guys, very tasty. Sometimes they have like chicken in them.
This is Paul recording on his GoPro, and what's happening here is his GoPro has got a setting on it. I'm not going to tell him which setting because he could learn. And the lights are flickering, and you can change a setting and it will change those lights and stop them flickering. It's about it's a setting on the camera. It's about the recording settings. So he's recording this on his GoPro, which he doesn't usually show us GoPro footage on his stuff usually, does he? But this is GoPro footage.
And yeah, just delicious, very tasty, very cool place. We love it. We love it. I'm excited to try these momos, mumus. How do you say it? Momo.
So the microphone's not ideal and the flickering's not ideal.
The dumplings. Very cool place, guys. See as well. I don't know what they are, but they look really cool. Oh wow.
Is he with people? He asked someone what the name of these dumplings were. I wonder if they're people that are helping him get around, or if he's with people, or if they were just randomers.
Look at this. Thank you. Good man.
The guy's presenting it like it's a TikTok. I think this is like a TikTok shoot almost. Like you know, he said, I'm doing TikTok Indian street food. I forgot to go over this in big style. Maybe we do it on Nutterwatch actually on Friday. But there's a lot of Indian street food TikToks that already exist. They're like viral and popular. And I think Paul is trying to emulate some of those in some of his content. Not really doing a good job of it, but you know, it's what he sees, it's what he consumes on the internet. It's what he's grown up with, this TikTok Jake Paul world. And you see it reflected back in his content a lot. You know, the way this man presented it and sort of stood there, like, okay, and cut, and what, you know, like, it doesn't feel like a natural interaction, this, does it? He took it back. He took it back.
A bit hot, plate's a little bit hot, so yeah, they're going to bring it over for us. Right, hey, good camera. You want to say hello? Hello. So yeah, what's in these? Chicken or vegetable? Chicken. Okay, chicken. Let's try it. We're going to try the sauce because the sauce is normally very hot.
I mean, they look to me like frozen vegetable goys that you can get at the supermarket, but they might be made by hand on the street. Who knows? But we're in a fast food environment. Look, behind him there's like a menu for burgers and all that stuff. Like, we're in some sort of market where there's a fast food environment. I don't know. Like, I think we're somewhere between proper Indian street food and, you know, westernized fast food or whatever this is. I think he's probably got these people with him to ask, like, you know, is this safe? After his previous... Like, it's a bit weird, isn't it, to go from I've got a really bad tummy to jumping straight back into street food. And whilst I was suggesting he should be eating more of the local cuisine, he doesn't have to eat the street food all the time. That's where the danger is, isn't it? And he's already been poorly, but... Maybe these dumplings, he's seen them on the internet. He thinks he's looking pretty cool with his shades, doesn't he?
That's definitely spicy. Very hot, but very tasty.
Spices.
Very hot.
Very hot and kind of boring.
You can try this.
This guy's going to eat one, so he's definitely with this person, otherwise this person wouldn't choose to eat one of the fucking dumplings, would he?
This is not a spicy sauce.
English speaker. Must be some sort of guide or something, yeah? Like, I mean, has he got Indian friends who speak English?
Very nice, bro.
I mean, maybe he can just sort of network with people on social media and, like, you know, you know, like how, like, you know, mid-range social media influencers might be. You know, you might meet up with someone who's not a friend, but not a paid guide, but, you know, maybe is a social media person in some way. I don't know. It's just kind of weird, isn't it? He's got this friend with him who's helping him make decisions, like translating and all that, like a guide, but he's not filmed him or talked about him or told us who he is. Like, he's actually carefully keeping his face off the camera.
You call them memes, remember?
Bit weird. Yeah, cool. We'll pick up with some of those on Nutterwatch. I won't exhaust everything for Nutterwatch. I'm feeling a bit tired myself now. That's him. I never understood what Boone was about, really. I don't get it. I don't even, to this day, I don't know what the show's about. I know he rides a motorbike around. That's a feature of it. Is it a cop show? Like, it was on later at night. My nan wouldn't necessarily have watched it either, so... Like, but it was on, wasn't it? Boone. It was on the telly. Boone. It existed. Neil Morrissey was in it. Can't remember. Was it Cops? Was it Cops? I don't know. Was it?
Brenda. That's Brenda. Wow! Everything's fine, I'm not having a breakdown. Oh wow, everything. Wow, wow. Everything's fine, I'm not having a breakdown. Oh wow, everything. Wow, wow. Everything's fine, I'm not having a breakdown. Oh wow. Wow. Everything's fine, I'm not having a breakdown. Oh wow. Everything's fine, I'm not having a breakdown. Everything's fine, I'm not having a breakdown.
This one's funny.
Okay, break.
This one's funny. I remember this. We watched this one. So I should just upload what I watched on, because we watched this on Twitch earlier a little bit. But this one's funny. We'll finish on this one, I suppose. Alan decries Keir Starmer for making a gaffe, and then makes one of his own.
News. I take you over to Mr. Starmer, who's decided how to end the Gaza-Israel conflict. This is what he said.
Again, all parties to pull back from the brink.
Back from the brink.
I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza.
Ceasefire.
The return of the sausages, the hostages.
Return of the sausages.
And a recommitment to the two-state solution.
That's not funny, is it?
A recognised Palestinian state along...
He wants to return of the sausages as soon as possible. Mr.
Starmer made a slight verbal mispronunciation. Alan's not prone to those, but he's going to rip him for it.
Starmer, that's a huge gaffe. I don't think sausages will help in this matter. Do you?
Oh, you're still talking, Alan? Oh, that's a bit of a gaffe, isn't it? Alan's mistakenly turned off the Starmer video, but also muted himself on his own TikTok video, and yet still uploaded it to TikTok in this state, with the majority of it being him rambling incoherently, silently into his phone late at night, like some madman. Bit of a gaffe.
Alan, do you want me to walk into your life wearing my clip-clop shoes
Okay,
and
breaking
my
news.
brown
I'll
bikini?
take you over to...
Listen up, Alan, you bastard. You are never getting my clip-clop shoes or my kissy. I am Nickel Dam Kessinger, and I demand my kissy from Scotty Hottie.
Me?
I want him to sex me off a proper good one. I need some kissy from Super Chuffer.
Nicole.
Alan, you are a worm and you lose at poker all the time. It's sad to see you scrubbing around and noncing about. You are pathetic and Rumble is where you belong, crushed under the YouTube clip-clop shoes. Clip-clop shoes of Nickel Dam Kessinger.
Kessinger.
Nickel Dam Kessinger demands her kissy with Scotty Hottie. Alan Vinnicombe has made her really mad. She is going to crush him beneath her clip-clop shoes. Nickel Dam Kessinger demands her kissy with Scotty Hottie. Alan Vinnicombe has made her really mad. She is going to crush him beneath her clip-clop shoes. Nickel Dam Kessinger demands her kissy with Scotty
Nickel
Hottie.
Kessinger kissy for Missy Nickel Kessinger kissy for Missy Nickel Kessinger. Kissy for Missy Nickel Kessinger kissy for Missy Nickel Kessinger. Kissy for Missy Nickel Kessinger kissy for Missy Nickel Kessinger. Kissy for Missy Nickel Kessinger kissy for Missy Nickel. Kissy for Missy
He fucking loves brown bikini Kessinger, doesn't he?
for Missy Nickel Kessinger. Kissy 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 for Missy Nickel Kessinger. For Missy Nickel Kessinger. Kissy for Missy Nickel Kessinger.
All I'm saying is she needs questioning. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm said. All I'm saying is she needs questioning. She needs questions asked. Questioning. Oh, I'd question the life out of her. Get up them stairs and I'm going to question you in the shower. What I'm saying is she needs questioning, that's all. That's all I'm saying. Isn't it? I need to finish on a song then, really, don't I? Just need to finish on a song.
Dion's there, Val's there, we're all saying, go on, Super Chuffer, go on, son. He's got the inquest in one, let's destroy him. 5 years they've been having parties about they brought me down. Well, guess what? I'm still friggin' here.
You be good, and if you can't be good, you're naughty. Listen, thank you very much for all the gifted memberships, the super chats, and the coffee.coms tonight. We're coming towards the end of the month. As we roll into the new month, there'll be a new set of gifted memberships I can deliver, and look out for those at the start of the month. We throw those around. I'm very grateful to everyone who keeps their membership rolling offline, doesn't do it while we're live, but keeps it going. I'm very grateful for that as well. I'll be on Twitch. Well, it's 1:30 in the morning now, so maybe not tonight, but I'll be on Twitch, I'll be on YouTube. You'll see me around on the streets of YouTube. Don't worry about that. Nutterwatch planned Friday. I think I've used up most of our stuff for tonight, but I wanted to get this done. I just saw it, thought it, let's do it. who knows what's coming, but we've always got stuff to talk on Nutterwatch. So I'll see you on Friday's Nutterwatch for sure over here. You be good, and if you can't be good, you're naughty.
And do you know why? Because I haven't done anything wrong. You don't think I know you called the police on me for being SO and all that for 5 years? You don't think that, I've spoken to them. I've been in my house 10 times. I've told them what you're doing. You all fear me. The return of the great armchair detective. Or I'm Vinnicombe and warning out of the big bad shadow baron, now shadow band to the rumble. Do you think I'd crumble? Do you think I'd lay down and die? Stick that in your pipe and stick the pipe in your eye. I'm back. I'm out and back again with these beats. All I'm saying is Kay needs questioning by police. That's all I said. I'm just an old man, getting stalkers in my walls, hands tramadol's and dies a pan, man. I'm Big Bad Alan and you need me. I'm Big Bad Alan and I want you to feed me cheesy chips while I lick my lips. Come on, super chopper, go on, son. Let's destroy Alan. That bad man is done. I haven't done anything wrong. So what's going on? Can anybody hear me? But I get back on the internet, they will all fear me. The return of the great armchair detective, Alan Vinnicombe. All in Alan, the big bad shadow baron, now shadow banned to the rumble. Do you think I'd crumble? Do you think I'd lay down and die? Stick that in your pipe, stick the pipe in your eye. I'm back, and I'm Alan back again with these beats. All I'm saying is Kay needs questioning by police. That's all I said. I'm just an old man, gang stalkers in my walls, hands tramadol's and dies a pan man. I'm Big Bad Alan and you need me. I'm Big Bad Alan and I want you to feed me cheesy chips while I lick my lips. You were giving him tippies, you were giving the chuffer tips. I must insist you desist and resist your urges. Giving the super chuffer time, but he streams for ages. I can't keep up with the man, he's turning pages while I'm struggling to read. I mean, he's so vital and I'm nearly deceased. I'm a beast, I'm the Bristol pusher. It makes me feel alive to watch another suffer. I'm a nutter. I got banned off YouTube because of the homophobic slurs. I'm on TikTok with the little girls dancing. Angry Alan in his pants watching streams with the money from Nancy. All I'm saying is that Nickel Kessinger needs kissies. Angry Alan getting eggy when the chuffer gets the tippies. Whoosh, and then whoosh. It's raining again. I couldn't be happier. Damn that super chuffer. Come on, super chuffer. Come on, son. Let's destroy Alan. That bad man is done. Come on, super chuffer. Come on, super chuffer.